Deshaun Jackson done. He got played one play, got hurt. Is he done?
Well, he played like, I don't know, 9 to 12 plays. But yeah, I mean, if he's, got a hamstring problem or something like that, yeah, I'm sure he's done. I mean, at 35.
Right.
For a wide receiver.
I just kind of figured hamstring 35, that's pretty much the end.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a bye week. I mean, if you don't see him coming out of the bye week.
And Jeff Saturday's the coach of the Indianapolis Colts.
What a joke franchise.
Really is.
Highest level of coaching he's ever done is high school football.
No one on his offensive staff has ever called a play.
What's that?
I don't think because Frank Reich called the plays. I don't think they have anyone on their offensive staff who's ever called a play. And the Bills just casually mentioned, yeah, we're taking a look at Josh Allen's elbow.
Right.
Might be something wrong with his UCL and some nerve damage. Oh, really? I don't know. Seems to be the story. Morning, Jake. College basketball season got underway.
Okay, for FGCU.
And Stetson. Both 18-point underdogs.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this second Tuesday of November. For some of us, that means Election Day, as we ask the question, how the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. A lot to get to today. A great lineup. JP Peterson, Pat Kirwan, Matt Baker, all on the show. I come at you live from New Orleans, where, heck, it's in the 70s. It is unseasonably warm here. Mark, how is it in the 239?
Summer. David, it's summer. Not much has changed around here. It's really sunny. It's really warm, and it appears not to end.
Just wanted to, keep asking and finding out. It's how I remember it from a few days ago, but okay. All right. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Another drab Monday Night Football game. I'll tell you what, you take a look at our schedule, and it looked really promising, Mark, 2 months ago. And now, Mm, mm, mm. You know, there are a lot of 3-6 out there, 3-5, 3-6, and it seems as if the Monday Night Football schedule's loaded with it. But the Ravens, they looked pretty good last night. Their acquisitions, the guys are getting healthy. They look like they could be. A pain in the butt come mid-January.
They are exactly the team that they're supposed to be. They're really physical. They run the ball really well. They want to play a game where they punch you in the mouth. And last night they did that to New Orleans on both sides of the ball. They dominated the line of scrimmage. They dominated third down on both sides of the ball. And that's how you win. And they won going away.
Yes, they did. Game much like Georgia, Tennessee. Both games had the same final score, and yet afterwards you thought the winning team controlled it by more than the 14-point differential. Baltimore now 6-3. The funny thing for the Saints, they look lousy. They're 3-6. Most lousy 3-6 teams are out of it, but they play in the NFC South. You know, go 2-1 in your next three, and next thing you know, you're going to Tampa. You're probably playing for first place. It's funny how that works.
Always seems to be one division like that. And this year it is the NFC South that someone is desperately going to have to win. Please take this division. We beg of you.
Mark, what's your philosophy about coaches? Like, are you one of those? Remember, man, this has got to be 8 years ago, maybe even longer. I think the Falcons job was available, and Deion, who had no coaching experience at the time, Deion said, I could do that job. I'd be really good at that job. And most people mocked him. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'd hire a really good offense coordinator, really good defense coordinator. All right. I've got credibility with the guys. All right. I'd run a good, locker room, so to speak. And goodness knows I could deal with the media. What do you mean I wouldn't be a good coach? And as I remember it, you and I thought, well, I have to admit, the way he's pitching it, I'm at least open to the idea.
Well, I've got to say that I'm fascinated by the Jeff Saturday hire in Indianapolis because it is the same thing. This is a guy who has unbelievable credibility among players, or at least he should.
Yeah, and especially with that franchise. I mean, it's not, I don't believe a Hall of Fame career, but it was a very good career.
But it's a Ring of Honor type career in
no doubt.
Indianapolis.
No doubt. I think he may already be in it.
And he is going to hit this from the outside, having apparently from just listening to like Louis Riddick talk that he's still talking Colts was talking Colts every day. Riddick said, we talked about the Colts almost every day, specifically about the offensive line in the Colts. So he didn't leave the franchise, so to speak, if you know what I mean.
Well, and apparently him and the owner have been talking like 3-4 times a week all season.
Right.
But I got to admit, as somebody who 8-10 years ago was open to the idea of, you know what? I'll at least interview Deion. What the heck? I mean, if you think about it, you're a leader of men, right? That's what a head coach is, a leader of men. I mean, you don't have to be the Frank Reich type of head coach where you also call the plays. You can hire somebody else to do that on both sides of the ball. You can just be a leader of men. So, okay. But I got to admit, Mark, I actually would have felt better about it if he was sitting home in his living room. The fact that, for the last handful of years, what's his gig been? He's been a talking head. It's funny. My first reaction was he would have had more credibility if he was sitting home and once or twice a week getting together with the guys complaining about the Colts than he would if he was a talking head. Which makes no sense.
I'll take the opposite side on that particular argument. He's been around all kinds of football people, heard from people he never worked with on the field, getting different ideas. So I would think that his his brain's been consumed by as much football as humanly possible. How could he be a dumber football person by hanging around football people all the time?
The other thing that I thought about was, if I was Jeff Saturday, he obviously loves the Colts, and he clearly has a good relationship with the owner, and most of us think that the owner is bat blank crazy. But if I'm Jeff Saturday, and I know that he could go back to ESPN at the end of the year in a heartbeat. I mean, Herm Edwards just went to Arizona State for like 5 years, and they got rid of him, and within a month, he's back at ESPN. But there's a part of me, Mark, that's like, I would say to Mr. Irsay, I'm not interested in the interim. I'm interested in being the head coach. All right? This interim thing doesn't do anything for me. I mean, if you want me, you want me.
It's twofold, David, because I agree with what you're saying completely. And the other side of this is, if he's really serious about getting into coaching, is going to work for your old owner and your old team the best way to get in? Probably not, but it's the only way to get in. If Jeff Saturday really wants to do this, he doesn't have a lot of options, particularly for a head coaching job.
Oh, right. No, he'd have to pay his dues. He'd have to be a line coach or an assistant line coach and then a line coach and go that route. And it would take years.
So he's hurdling the whole process because he's on the inside with an owner that's crazy. And Jim Irsay's crazy.
He is. I mean, it's funny. He spoke out against Daniel Snyder, and we all joked at the time. And when I say we, I mean Miller and Moulton, that, wow, they sent owner number 31 to go after owner number 32. How about that? That's funny. I find that ironic. You know, this isn't Mr. Hunt to the Chiefs stepping forward going, I'm just not comfortable with him. I think he's kind of lost the room. This is Jim Irsay saying it.
But see, I think you have to learn how to be a head coach. And why I have different philosophies with every other sport than I do football, because it doesn't seem to work going from Saturdays to Sundays, and it doesn't seem to work having no experience trying to do this on Sundays. See, I'm a hockey guy at my core. And the guy that just won the Stanley Cup was a coach for about 5 years in the league. But where did he coach before that? In the American League. And where did he coach before that? In the ECHL. And he had multi-years of head coaching experience before he got that job in the NHL. And that's why at that particular league, I hate retreads. But it's so hard for first-time coaches to win in this league.
Well, and not only that, the owner benched Matt Ryan. I mean, maybe Saturday comes in and says, yeah, whose idea was the Sam Ehlinger thing? Was that you, Mr. Irsay? Was that really Frank Reich's idea? Well, then he did deserve to be fired if that was his idea, okay? I mean, for goodness sakes. We got one quarterback on the roster who's gotten a team to a Super Bowl. We got the other quarterback on the roster who's won the Super Bowl. We're playing Sam Ehlinger for his mobility, right? Had the 9 sacks go Sunday against the Patriots. He may have mobility. He also held on to the ball for 5 seconds. So, in our Twitch chat room, all right, the gentleman says, listen, he hired Jeff Saturday because they're tanking. And now this puts a prettier face on the tank job, that the Colts fan will maybe not be as disgruntled for the final 2 months of the season. I agree with him. I think they're tanking. I do. I think they threw up the white flag at 3-3-1. They said, we're not winning the division. Therefore, we're not making the playoffs. We need a quarterback. I'm tired of this, new quarterback every year. I mean, they've had 5 different quarterbacks in the last 5 years. I mean, that's what Andrew Luck did to them. I have no idea why everybody associated with the Colts speaks so highly of Andrew Luck. I really don't, because he absolutely screwed the franchise. But, I mean, they've gotten Luck, Brissett, Rivers, Wentz, Ryan the last 5 years. And I think Jim Irsay said, you know what? Blanket. We're tanking. We're getting a quarterback.
Well, regardless of what the case is, I am still fascinated by how it goes because we've seen teams that have tried to tank before and they ended up winning games. Jeff Saturday may be sitting in front of there as a figurehead and he's supposed to lose. He doesn't want to lose.
We got it going on in the NBA right now. Utah traded their whole roster. They're 9-3.
Second best record in the West.
No, they're one in the West now.
So, Mark, you're right. Sometimes trying to tank doesn't work out that way. But that was an interesting NFL headline from yesterday.
Stunning. Absolutely stunning.
Meanwhile, the college basketball season got underway yesterday and last night. And let me tell you, speaking of stunning, all right, we'll give you a few more minutes to get the coffee in you. We got a couple of results that, the season is underway.
And a really good show ahead. JP Peterson, Pat Kirwan, and Matt Baker will all join us on Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts, flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com, flgolfcarts.com.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
How long was the show? Did you do 90 minutes? I hate the 1 hour shows. Thank you, Benny. Driving. I-10 East. Leisurely drive.
Thirty seconds. Wait
a minute, you're driving back today?
I am.
Here we go.
The time takes about the same in this way. Gotcha.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Really good show lined up for you. JP Peterson, Pat Kirwan, Matt Baker. Begins in a little more than an hour. Not that between now and then it's, not going to be at least decent. I mean, we think it is. But, we also then, hope it gets better with JP Peterson, Pat Kirwan, and Matt Baker. That's all. Hey, college hoop season started yesterday and last night.
Yes, it did.
And in-state, a couple of really good wins. I mean, really good. A couple of A-Sun teams. One, it was a bus trip. One, cross-country flight. Both of them got W's out of it. FGCU went to Los Angeles and beat their former coach, Andy Enfield, and USC. A rousing second half, in which they went on like a 10-0 run midway through the half, and that was the difference in the game. FGCU, for just the second time in school history, beat a Power 5 school on the road in the regular season. They beat USC by 13 as an 18-point underdog. Well, their A-Sun counterpart, Stetson, said, well, we're not going to play second fiddle to that. They took the bus ride to Tallahassee. They were an 18-point dog to the Noles. They beat them by 9. College season's underway, baby.
Always a few of these early on, these guarantee games where they guarantee to pay you money and walk out with a victory.
That's right. Sometimes the best laid plans of mice and men. Whew. You know what I've noticed this morning? I don't know if you're getting anything in the text line, but have you noticed in the Twitch chat room? See, up until about a month ago, Mark, I lived in Southwest Florida for 23 years. Mark still resides in Southwest Florida, home to Florida Gulf Coast University. And it was 10 years ago they had that, Cinderella run to the Sweet 16, got the moniker Dunk City. Well, last few years, even though they won 22 games last year, but, morale in and around the program got down. And whenever we would refer to it as Dunk City, people would make fun of us. It's not Dunk City anymore. That ship has sailed.
And it has.
Right.
A long time ago. They need a new moniker. I mean, that's all they'll ever have. That's what they've chosen, but that's long gone.
Mark, I don't know if you've noticed the Twitch chat room this morning, but Dunk City's back. It's funny what a road win over a Power 5 school can do, in which all of a sudden, out of the woodwork this morning, no, Dunk City, did you see Dunk City won? Hey, did Dunk City beat USC last night? So it's funny because, last 3-4 years, it was tough when people like us referred to them as Dunk City, the Twitch chat room would be like, it's over. Okay, let it go.
I was with the Twitch chat room then. I'm with them, still with them then. But a great win. I'm not denying that. I just, they're FGCU to me. They're 4 coaches removed from that moniker. I think it's time to start making your own name for yourself, so to speak. But a great start for their new coach and getting a win at USC. They should be very happy, very impressed with that. Should be a good morning before they cancel classes later this week at FGCU.
2 of their new players had combined for 39 last night, and that always helps. Andy's got a very young team, and, they can get beat, and they did. And Leonard Hamilton, whose teams get better as the season goes on. Stetson got him last night, but every single Florida Division I school played last night. We'll have the scores coming up in about 12 to 15 minutes.
But that's a huge win for both schools. Stetson, I don't know which one it's more embarrassing for, USC or FSU, because you don't want to ever lose to the in-state little guy. I mean, that's an embarrassing loss. And I would argue that the FSU, the Florida State loss, is worse than the USC loss because it's in-state. That's a lot tougher to take from your alumni. You lost to who? As opposed to you lost to who?
Right. Plus, I think Leonard also lost to one of his former assistants last night in Donnie Jones, who's a good coach. But and that's going to be a sneaky, really good little conference this year. All right. And there's always, 3 or 4 of those in a college basketball season. The A-Sun between Liberty and Jacksonville, Stetson, FGCU. That's going to be a sneaky, good little conference this year. There's going to be another Power 5 school or 2 that conference is going to jump up and grab before they get into conference play.
And maybe the winner of that conference can win a tournament game, because no matter how sneaky good it is, it's only getting one bid.
Well, Mark, enjoy the tournament while it's still also, the tournament as we know it and love it, because, boy, there's a movement at work. It's just, we got to get to 96. That's what we got to do. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. So that just enjoy the tournament while it's still. Here's my thing. If they're going to do that, don't have the little guys play right away. I'm serious. All right. You want to add all these Power 5 schools so that all these coaches can save their jobs and keep making millions of dollars. I mean, that's why we're doing this. Once again, it's a money grab. Okay. The conferences want to do it. They get more bids. They get more money. All right. The coaches are all for it. Not all of them, but a majority of them are for it. Why? Well, I made the tournament. How can you get rid of me? I made the tournament. In fact, I should get an extension. But, I save the little guy. I let the Power 5 schools. Basically, you want to add the NIT, then play the NIT first.
Put your 32 teams in, have a play-in game, and let them take the last 16 spots.
Yeah. Fine.
If that's what you're talking about.
Yes. Yeah. And then, make them all, I don't know what seedings they would then be. Nowadays, the play-ins become 11s and 12s. Whatever the heck they would come in the past. But then if you're going to just keep the little guy going against the big guy, whatever damn day and round that is.
Yeah, there'll be play-ins for every 16 and 15 is what will happen.
I know. It just good. Unbelievable. Let's ruin the best damn thing you've got going, NCAA. But the season got off to a nice little start last night. And now it's like opening day of baseball, Mark. And now you don't have to pay attention to this. Still, if you want, you could do it in January. College football season winds down with a few games. Got the NFL playoffs. But, I mean, hell, if you want, you can even wait till February. Just like baseball. I mean, you wait 3 months, it's the All-Star break.
Well, we do have that whole ACC Big Ten challenge for a week and the Big 12 SEC challenge for another day. So there's always a day or two that you get some good college hoop.
Enjoy that ACC Big Ten challenge while it lasts, because now that ESPN's not going to have anything to do with the Big Ten, well, they're not going to be able to do the ACC Big Ten challenge unless, Mark, this is like Don King and Bob Arum getting together on a promotion. This would have to be ESPN and Fox now would have to get together to keep this whole ACC Big Ten thing.
I think it's just going to be a big challenge. Since Fox got a lot of Big 12 basketball, this is going to shift to Big 12 versus Big 10, ACC versus SEC, because that'll appease the networks that are carrying their games, because they like the programming. They just hate one another.
Right. And besides, we're the big network, Big Noon Football. Oh, what do you do for basketball? It's a big challenge.
Miller and Moulton. The starting five is coming up next. It'll be a big challenge in and of itself right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Going to be a hell of a start to the World Cup, though. Thanksgiving Day, USA, England. And I know it starts a few days before that, but I mean, that's when I think a lot of people in this country will start paying attention.
We play the 21st.
Right.
And we'll win, so they'll get fired up.
Oh, we got a layup.
We play Wales, I believe.
We an 18-point favorite. Is that how that goes? Apparently, the last 2 or 3 times they put the national team out there and played, they sucked. Mark, which do you hate more, Dunk City or the U.S. men's national team chant?
I believe I hate that chant more.
So lame. So cringe. 15 seconds.
Well, they doubled the field, didn't they?
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour. Top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. JP Peterson, 1 hour from now. Is John Gruden really going to be the next coach of South Florida? JP with some info and some thoughts on that 1 hour from now. Pat Kirwan, the top of the 8 o'clock hour, to talk all things NFL. You know, this AFC picture may be changing dramatically. Got an injury situation in Buffalo. Keep our eyes on that. Pat will join us. And 2 hours from now, Matt Baker. His thoughts on South Florida, who they can get, who they should get. Florida State's big win over Miami. Matt Baker from the Tampa Bay Times 2 hours from now. Right now it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Ravens whooped up on the Saints. Game wasn't as close as the final score at 27-13. Baltimore's in first in the North at 6-3, a 1-game lead over the Bengals. Bengals and Patriots at 5-4 would both miss the playoffs if the playoffs started this weekend. Chargers would be the 7 seed at 5-3. Saints fall to 3-6. They're a game back of Atlanta and Tampa Bay in the South. Technically, Tampa would represent that division as champion if the playoffs were this weekend, because they own the head-to-head tiebreaker and better division record against Atlanta. Mark, I don't know how long you stayed with the game. I was getting paid. I had to stay with it the whole way. But Andy Dalton has a pass deflected and intercepted with about 8-9 minutes to go. The Ravens, about 2 minutes later, they pound it in and go up 3 scores. There's about 7 minutes left in the game. It's 27-6. Saints have 150 total yards of offense. 150. And I'm thinking to myself, what the heck? Why don't you put Jameis in?
He's healthy.
He is. He is. They didn't even think about it. And I was watching Jameis. Jameis, kind of made his way over near the coach, kind of stuck his face out, the look at the coach. Kind of
Hey, here I am. I'm still here.
Right. You made me active today. No. I'm in uniform and everything. Got shoulder pads on. I can play, coach. Yeah. Dennis Allen didn't even think about it. I mean, unless Dennis Allen's like, listen, he didn't have first team reps. I didn't want to put him in that spot, blah, blah, blah. But he's going to make the change this week or next week or what have you. Otherwise, Mark, if you're Jameis Winston, you're done in New Orleans.
Yep. That's what I was thinking the entire second half, David. That's over.
Yeah. And he started the season. He was the guy. I mean, let him, had a big fourth quarter. They come from behind, win over the Falcons, the whole deal. Right. Uh-huh. Yeah. So, anyway, I just thought that was a footnote. Ravens are off, and then they play Carolina. Saints, meanwhile, go to Pittsburgh, and then they host the Rams. About a month from now, Monday Night Football, Saints are at Tampa. Right now, they're 3-6 and 4-5. They each play 3 games between now and then. What do you think the records of that game will be on Monday Night Football? And it'll still probably be for first place in the South.
It'll be for first place. They each have 3 more games.
I believe so.
So it'll be the 5-7 Saints.
Oh, you think they'll go 2-1? Good for you.
Yeah, you just gave me 2 wins on their schedule. Their next 2 games are very winnable, so I'll give them 2 wins. And the 6-6.
Look at you.
Bucks.
Wow, you're giving both teams the benefit of the doubt. They each go 2-1. Okay. Because, Mark, I think it's a real chance. We got 5-7 hosting 4-8. I mean, I really do. I mean, don't underestimate what these 2 teams can accomplish. A couple of other footnotes in the NFL yesterday. Oh, yeah, the Colts fired their head coach, Frank Reich. They replaced him with a TV talking head. All right, that's a little cynical of me. It's Jeff Saturday, longtime Colt standout player. Is it really any different than, they replaced him with Pat McAfee? I mean, McAfee was not as long a Colt standout, but
A punter?
Hey, does it matter? Center, punter?
Well, yes, I do think it matters a little bit from credibility inside the room. I do.
Hell, McAfee might have more credibility with the guys than Saturday does. So anyway, no one on the Indianapolis staff's ever called an offensive play, so they got to figure that little detail. They got to figure that out.
Your mocking has me wanting to go buy a Colts jersey. I want them to win every game they play right now.
Okay, they got 8 games left. How many are they going to win?
2.
They only have 1 division game left. They got
2.
They got a home game with Houston.
2.
So they're going to go 2-6, which means they're going to go, yeah, right. 5 is whatever. 5-11-1. That's what I guess they're going to go. Picking the top 5. Yeah. The Bills just did very nonchalantly at a meeting the media yesterday after their disappointing loss to the Jets. And it's like, hey, what's up with Josh Allen? Well, since you asked, he's got this thing with his elbow. Oh, really? Which one? Well, his right one. Oh, his throwing elbow. What kind of a thing? Well, he's got some damage to the UCL. Oh, really? Yeah, type of damage, pitchers get that kind of damage. They usually miss the rest of the year, and sometimes they have to have it completely repaired, and they miss like 12 to 18 months. Well, he's got some UCL damage, and also some of the nerves, the tingling and the feeling in the arm. Oh, really?
But it's dead. I mean, that was my favorite part.
I'm like, I'm sorry, wait. Are they trying to bury the lead here? Because they're making this seem as if, he rolled his ankle, might come back into the game. He's questionable. Because I don't know. This sounds like a little more than questionable. By the way, you said it was Josh Allen, right? Okay, good. I thought he was like really important in this whole operation, but okay. All right. So that bears watching, I guess, Mark. Hey, the college hoop season got underway yesterday and last night. There's 13 Florida Division I schools. All of them were in action last night. 2 big upsets, both ASUN related. FGCU went out west, beat their former head coach, Andy Enfield, in USC as an 18-point underdog. Big second half. They won going away, 74-61. Stetson, not to be outdone, took the bus ride from DeLand to Tallahassee. By the way, lovely trip. Just lovely trip. But when you come home winners, how about that bus ride back? Getting home about 3, 4 in the morning. Still got
That's an easy bus ride right there.
Just, drive about 30 miles, get on the turnpike, take it to I-75, do the 75 to I-10 thing, bada bing, bada boom. No problem.
Well, not a problem after a win. It's a really short, trust me, it's a really short bus ride home.
Especially since you fall asleep midway home. But Stetson beat Florida State in Tallahassee by 9 as an 18-point dog. Duke beat JU. It was John Shire's debut by 27. Todd Golden, first game as Gators head coach. They beat Stony Brook by 36. Oregon beat FAMU by 35. Gonzaga, 41 points. They beat UNF by 104-63. South Florida, Mark, lost at home as an 11-point favorite. That coach has to win this year or they're going to get rid of him. Not only are they losing, but they're boring. It's a bad combination.
Athletic department is a grease fire right now.
It really is. Except for women's basketball. FIU beat Houston Christian by 11. Bethune-Cookman went to Iowa, lost by 31. Miami was down 2 at the half, rallied to beat Lafayette 67-54. And UCF, Johnny Dawkins has got some heat on him also. And they lost their home opener to UNC Asheville in double overtime, 98-95. Throw in an FAU 35-point win over Division II Lynn College. Mark, baseball, the little clause is you got 7 days after the World Series, and then free agency begins. And lately, you got a lot of contracts that have opt-outs. Well, beginning yesterday, some of the players took advantage of the opt-outs. Anthony Rizzo opted out of his Yankees contract. He's a free agent. Jacob deGrom opted out of his Mets contract. He's a free agent. The Phillies picked up the $16 million option on Aaron Nola. They declined the $17 million option on their second baseman, Juan Segura. The GM of the Angels said, we are not trading Ohtani, at least not during the offseason. The trade deadline's a completely different story, but we're not trading him during the offseason. Okay. And I don't know if you saw this, Mark. You know, baseball's got the 3 different committees, and they each vote as to who should go into the Hall of Fame. Well, it's the contemporary baseball era committee's turn. They're up.
Wait till you see who's on this list.
It's a hell of a list.
It really is.
By the way, the contemporary era is after 1980. Then you got the one that's, you know, the before, and then you got another one. But the thing is, this is it, and then these guys don't get voted on for another 3 years. That's the problem. This is their turn. 16 people, by the way, are going to vote on them, made up of some Hall of Famers, Major League Baseball executives, and sports writers. December 4th, the vote will take place at the winter meetings. You need 12 out of 16 votes to get in. Would you vote for Bonds?
Yes.
Clemens?
Yes.
Schilling?
Yes.
Albert Bell?
I think so.
Rafael Palmeiro?
No.
Why? If you're voting for Bonds and Clemens, yeah, he juiced, no doubt. But he's also one of 7 players to have 500 homers and 3,000 hits.
It's more of a compiling thing to me than the others. I never thought he was that great.
Okay. Fred McGriff.
I think the crime dog's going to get in.
I
just don't think that this is me talking. I think on this list, Fred McGriff's going to the Hall of Fame.
Fred McGriff with 493 home runs, the same number as Lou Gehrig. If it wasn't for the 94 baseball strike, he would have had 500 homers. Don Mattingly. Dale Murphy.
There you go.
That's your list of 8. By the way, you can vote for all 8. If you're one of those 16 guys, you can vote for all of them. It's not like you only get one vote.
I think McGriff and Murphy are going to the Hall of Fame. That's my prediction out of that.
Mattingly and Murphy were voted on a couple years ago, and they both did not get a lot of support. They both got between 3 and 5 votes out of the 16. Murphy's support keeps going down. You and I don't get it. NBA, Heat lost at home. Josh Hart hit a 3-pointer at the buzzer. Portland beat them 110-107. Miami's 4-7 on the season. Orlando lost at home to Houston. That's a bad loss. I know the Magic are a bad team, but come on, Houston was 1-9. Houston beat them 134-127. Lakers fell to 2-8. Utah beat them by 23. The Jazz are 9-3. There were like 37 games played in the NBA, so I'm trying to gloss over this. Celtics beat Memphis in a good one. Jason Tatum with 39, 109-106. Embiid came back for the Sixers. He had 33 points, 10 rebounds. They beat Phoenix by 12. Knicks hit 19 threes to beat the Timberwolves by 13. Luka at 36 mark. Dallas edged KD and the Nets 96-94. And Milwaukee suffered their first loss of the year. Atlanta thumped them 117-98, and they did so without Trae Young. And Cleveland choked like a big hairy dog last night, up 10 with 3 minutes to go, and lost to the Clippers by 2. NHL, 3 games. Ovi scored. Ovechkin career goal number 788 in Washington's win over Edmonton. Islanders beat Calgary in overtime, and the Bruins are 11-2. Thank you very much. They beat St. Louis 3-1. And that was the starting 5.
McDavid with another highlight reel goal in the loss for Edmonton. That seems to be a nightly occurrence. I think that's 13 already for Connor McDavid in the loss.
Barely an average game last night. He had a goal and an assist.
Miller and Moulton.
I don't even know if they're going to pay him, Mark.
Thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, Yinzer, contemporary is like the guts of their career was 80s and beyond. So, you know, like technically you could have started your career in 77 or something like that, but
Ovechkin's behind the D. Alex Ovechkin's skating well, leads in, beautiful pass.
now, is that the Kuznetsov goal for 5-3?
Yeah.
Yeah, Yinzer, you know, Keith Hernandez, Dave Parker. I mean, there's definitely guys who you could mention. Parker's an interesting one, though. Like Dick Allen's before contemporary. Dick Allen was the 70s. You know, you wonder, could they take up Dave Parker in the committee before this one? mean, he was already nicknamed the Cobra in the 70s. He was on that 79 Pirates team. Paul, where you been? No. Dale Murphy might be the only guy who went back. Him and Roger Maris, the two guys who won back-to-back MVPs who are not in the Hall of Fame. You know, Adam, I don't even know if I have satellite radio.
Well, you have it in your car, right?
I don't have my car. I have a rental.
I understand that. You don't have you didn't download the app?
I have it on my phone, yes.
Yeah.
Oh. Yep.
So when could you have flown out? Was you couldn't get out today, or
No, it's just time-wise, it would have been the exact same amount of time. That I can't get out till the afternoon. There's no direct flight home. I got to go to Atlanta. And 2 hours later, I got to fly from Atlanta. And when I sat and did everything, I'm like, you know, it's the same amount of time. And that's if I don't have a problem.
how long's the drive?
It's like 7-8 hours.
Leisurely.
Oh, I mean, it's the same highway. I-10 East.
15 seconds.
We talk Powerball here.
Sure, we talk drive home, talk the Baseball Hall of Fame, talk
Here we go.
whatever you want.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. I wake up in New Orleans after the Ravens' solid thumping of the Saints on Monday Night Football, 27-13. Mark wakes up in the 239, not a billionaire.
None of you are. Nobody.
So none of our listeners won?
Nobody won. We don't know. In fact, I shouldn't say that. I don't know. Maybe you did. But they haven't had the drawing yet.
Wait, what?
The drawing has been delayed.
I thought they do it Monday night, 11 o'clock. It's on the right before the news and everything. They do it live.
The California Lottery apparently runs the Powerball.
Huh.
They announced late Monday night that they're delaying the Powerball drawing because officials need more time to complete security protocols. Basically, the Powerball's been fixed.
What?
Whoever wins this, it's bogus.
So is this
I'm
like
not looking at this anymore. This is a scam.
So is this the McDonald's board game? Somebody sitting at home with the boardwalk piece?
Yep.
Is that it?
Exactly right.
Which one was it again? Did we all get boardwalk and not Park Place, or did we all get Park Place and not boardwalk?
Yeah, boardwalk's the one you had to get.
Gotcha.
And right now, the Powerball's been hacked. It's a fraud. No one's going to win.
Okay. Can you help me out here? It's a big plastic thing. You know, they blow air into it, and the balls kind of bounce around, and then eventually 5 or 6 of them end up in the chute. What kind of national security breach can we have?
David, I don't know what kind of breach we could have, but we've had a breach. I don't know if I really and truly don't know if we can ever have the lottery again. When you have a $1.9 billion jackpot and you say, yeah, we're going to hold off on the drawing because of security protocols, does anybody ever buy this again?
Well, that's just it. I mean, now I feel badly for if somebody wins this thing, we're all going to think, oh, so the fix was in for you, huh?
Unless, of course, I'm the one that wins, in which case everything was done correctly.
Thank goodness for security protocols. Okay, question. Do we have more time to buy tickets? Or is this it? Are we frozen? So are you telling me between 11 o'clock last night and what is now 7:04, in the last 8 hours, they haven't done the drawing?
That is correct, sir.
Did they say when they're going to do the drawing?
They think it's this morning.
Are we allowed to buy tickets before they do the drawing? Because I think, what, 10 o'clock last night?
I don't know the answer to.
Because here's the other thing. If you go in this morning to buy your lottery tickets, which Powerball are you buying for?
Based on this, it says that tickets are suspended 1 to 2 hours before the drawing.
I always thought it was an hour. I thought the drawing's at 11. I thought you had till 10.
I'm just reading off the Powerball website, depending on the area. So
I understand.
From the looks of it, you cannot buy tickets for this one. We have a security breach, which means 5 million people are going to win the Powerball. Every ticket's a winner.
A security breach? What are you talking about? We got a big plastic thing with balls. We pump air into it. We got to shoot. Okay, what's this? What security breach? I mean, what is this? David Stern and Patrick Ewing versus Steve Stepanovich? What?
Somebody weighted down the balls. There are weights in the balls, David. There are weights in the balls.
Is one of the plastic balls all frozen? Remember? That was the thing. The Ewing envelope was cold. That's how Stern knew which envelope to not grab and save it for when it was the Knicks' turn. Oh, okay.
So we have people waking up right now running to get their tickets and their phones and check their numbers, and we've got zip, zilch, nada.
And there's 1.9 billion just sitting there.
Sitting there.
Right. I mean, what are they looking for? More interest? Hey, if you can hold on to this for a little while longer, it'll reach 2 billion. What do you mean? Well, you know how much interest it's earning every 10 minutes? Huh. I don't understand. I really don't. I mean, what? Did Kansas, somehow, some way not fill in their paperwork? I mean, what changed?
According to the California Lottery, the delay is due to a participating lottery needing extra time to complete the required security protocols. Powerball has strict security requirements that must be met by all 48 lotteries before a drawing can occur.
I don't understand all 48 lotteries. What the hell does Montana have to do with the damn balls in the plastic tube in the air? I don't get it. Hey, wake Ted up over there. He's got to sign the paperwork and send it in. We can't do this. Wait, Ted didn't show up for work today. Well, go to his house and get him to sign it. He's holding up this whole lottery thing. I don't get it. Security. Now it's got me wondering, well, what the heck's no wonder, all of us who have never won more than $4 playing the damn lottery. It's like, what do you mean there are security concerns? I thought the only screw up was, there was like a big lottery in the last 2 years, and the guy who was reading the ping pong balls, 30, he said it was 39 and it was 36. He got the 6-9 thing wrong. It's, Mark, it's like doing play-by-play. And when they're going really fast, you got the 2, the 3, the 5, the 6, the 8, and the 9. They can all damn near be the same number.
Because somebody in a uniform search committee decided to look at him from 2 feet away and never bothered to go up to the press box and say, you think we can read these from 50 yards away?
Right. Whatever. Nah, they'll figure it out. And you know what we'll do? We'll put them in Knoxville. The sun will be blaring down on orange uniforms. We'll put them 4 or 5 stories up. What do you say? Shouldn't be a problem. Now I'm concerned. I mean, I get it if, the guy or the gal read the wrong number. You know, they thought 26 was 29. We get it. That's an honest mistake. What other problem can you have? I'm serious.
David, I don't know. I have no idea how this happens, but security protocols, that's all. I mean, it's all they're giving us.
I mean, Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway, right? Screwed up. I mean, they somehow, I don't know, they read the wrong winner, how do you get two envelopes?
Impossible.
Right. I don't know how we got two envelopes with two different winners. What, is somebody playing a joke? Besides, didn't we have like the big security firm of Stearns and Stearns? They always like to read that. And, all the results have been verified by the firm of Stearns and Stearns. Been serving Hollywood since 1937. I mean, some crap like that. What security?
So there's going to be a lot of confused people waking up this morning.
Yeah. Yeah, as DC points out in our Twitch chat room, it's not good when we may get election results before a Powerball winner. You make a dadgum good point.
Hell with the election results. I need Powerball numbers, David. This is important.
I agree. Oh, man. I'm totally confused. I don't know how honestly, I don't even know how we need security for this. We just need the damn machine to work. It pumps air into a big plastic thing. We got ping pong balls, for goodness sakes. Eventually they go into the chute. The whole job is for somebody to just read the damn numbers correctly. What security do we need?
Now maybe that whole air thing's a fraud.
What are there only like 8 numbers in the whole thing? And, we got 60 ping pong balls, but there's really only 10 numbers. I mean, what's the security needed for? You're right. I mean, come on now. You know what? And I'm being very serious now. For 10 seconds, I'll be serious about this. They need nobody to win. No. They need nobody to win. All right, because we'll wonder if all of a sudden we get multiple winners, or this, people be wondering, did something nefarious go on?
David, I'm fine if I'm one of 3 winners. I don't know.
I figured you would be, but would you be okay if I was one of the 3 winners? I mean,
I would be okay if you were one of the 3 winners.
I mean, what if it's somebody you don't like and they end up with one of the 3 winners?
Well, then there are going to be problems.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
What are my options at that point?
It's just like when Orlando won back-to-back lotteries. It's like, hold on, you got Shaq and Penny? What the heck? It's like the Spurs win it again. Hold on, you just got David Robinson 10 years ago. Now you get Tim Duncan? Seriously? What the hell's going on over here?
I like when we go to a lottery being fixed, though, immediately you think of the NBA.
Sure. What other lottery do we have in which people think it's not on the up and up? Have you ever for a second thought that the Florida lottery or the Powerball or whatever was not on the up and up?
Of course. I've never won. I think it once, twice a week minimum. Who came up with this system, and how have I not won?
This system. We're going to put every number into a plastic machine. We're going to pump air into it. Eventually 6 of them are going to go down the chute. We're going to read them off. This isn't like Blue Horseshoe loves Endicott Steel and people are talking into their wrists, with IFBs and, earbuds.
So no Powerball numbers. Everybody waking up with the same amount of wealth as they had when they went to bed.
Well, that sucks.
And productivity at work will be like the first day of the tournament until these numbers come out today, David.
Exactly.
No one is doing anything until we get a Powerball drawing. It's like, what do you mean I'm going to work? I don't have to do squat. I'm a billionaire. Don't you remember? Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network. Golfers, Are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
You had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. I didn't. I had a guy knocking himself out at the Louis Vuitton store that I thought was even better. This is pretty good, David.
See, I can see that happening, actually. You get that hammered, okay, and you're just in the wrong house. That Chuck, if you win, you could have your own show. You could pay us to retire. You could, we'll make a deal with the Florida Sports Network. You could do this.
What's it with food executives? We had that Beyond Meat guy that bit the.
Right. Right. I don't know.
Thirty seconds. Here we go.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. JP Peterson to join us in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Fairly well connected in the Tampa sports scene and knows John Gruden, knows folks fairly prominent in the South Florida athletic department. And he just said yesterday, yeah, Gruden would love the job. And there are some people at South Florida that would love for him to have the job. Now, from there, it kind of mushroomed into a story unto itself. But so we'll bring JP on a little more than 15 minutes time and have him, lay it out as he knows it and, kick that around a little bit and also talk a little Bucks and Bolts because he's pays attention to both. Pat Kirwan at the top of the hour, Matt Baker in a little more than an hour here on Miller and Moulton.
Look, I love the thought of the Gruden. I mean, it's fun sports talk. It would be, to me, very difficult to get through the red tape at a university to get a John Gruden hired right now with the baggage that surrounds him, with the things that he said and did, to then lead young men to be on a college campus. Not saying that it's impossible.
Okay.
I think it's improbable.
Better odds. He's the new head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. He's the new head coach at South Florida. I mean, what? I mean, you can't say it's just a focus group of one, to become the head coach of the Colts. You just got to, and goodness knows what day and time you catch Irsay. I mean, Mark, you might be the next full-time head coach of the Colts for all we know.
That possibility does still exist. You are right that it is a focus group of one to get the Colts job. That's what makes the Colts job an easier job to get.
Right. I will say they could probably use him to call plays right about now. I mean, I'll say it again. They don't have anybody on staff who's ever called a play. So let's hope they can get that rectified. I know I brought this up about 40 minutes ago. Okay. And yes, this intrigues me because, I'm into the Hall of Fame thing. All right, 8 guys. You're the judge and jury. This committee is going to vote in a little more than 3 weeks at the winter meetings. 16 guys are going to vote. If 12 of them say yes, these people are going in the Hall of Fame. Bonds.
I'd vote him in.
Okay. You vote for him. Prediction, do you think he'll get in?
No.
Clemens.
I would vote for him again. No, he won't get in.
Schilling.
Again, I would vote for him, and I don't think he gets in.
Boy, if Schilling doesn't get in, I got big problems with this committee. Just because Schilling hates you and you hate him, that's not a good enough reason to keep him out of the Hall of Fame. I'm sorry. It's just not. It's not. I think Schilling gets in.
Okay.
I'll probably be wrong. Albert Bell.
I'm not sure on that one. I gotta dive deeper. He sounds like a Hall of Famer to me.
I don't think he'll get in. I would not vote for him. I think his career, his 5-6 years are Hall of Fame worthy. Just like, quite frankly, Don Mattingly, who's also on the ballot. Don Mattingly had a 6-year run, which it was no-brainer walk into the Hall of Fame. And then, unfortunately, his back derailed the Hall of Fame career. He did hit 307 for his career, and he was a Gold Glove first baseman, perennial. 6-time All-Star, all in a row, and then the back injuries. Would he have been in the Hall of Fame if not for the back? Absolutely. Rafael Palmeiro.
I wouldn't, and I don't think he gets in.
I agree with he won't get in. There's no doubt in my. I mean, because if you don't think Bonds and Clemens are getting in, how the heck do you think Palmeiro's getting in?
Right.
Dale Murphy.
I'd put him in.
I would too. Apparently, he's getting less and less support every time. I don't get it at all. Sucks. When he played, everyone thought he was a Hall of Famer. Everyone. It wasn't even a debate when he played. Back-to-back MVPs playing center field. Anyway, Fred McGriff.
By all accounts, he's getting in.
Well, think about
every article that I've read on this, and I read a couple, they think McGriff's the dunk.
Well, think about it. You got it. I mean, it's probably the one guy everybody there could go, well, I'll put Fred McGriff in. I know he was clean. He had a nice 15-year run. He was a consistent 30-homer, 90 to 100 RBI guy. I mean, Mark, I got to be honest with you. You know what the difference is between Fred McGriff and Eddie Murray? The 94 strike. If those games happen from August 12th to the end of the year, McGriff's career numbers look exactly like Eddie Murray's. Now, Murray was a switch hitter. Okay. And he had the 3,500, played a little longer. But I'm telling you, Fred McGriff was Eddie Murray. He did it for a few years less, and he wasn't a switch hitter. And Eddie Murray was a dunk. Got in on the first ballot of the Hall of Fame. And you want to talk about a guy who hated the media and the media hated him. But anyway, December 4th, 16 people vote. They can vote for all 8 of those guys. If you get 12 of the 16 votes, you're a Hall of Famer.
How many do you think get in? You think McGriff and Schilling?
Yeah. I'll say it again. If you don't put Curt Schilling in the Hall of Fame, I think they should take your vote away from you. You're obviously you're too. So what if he's a horse's butt? So what? So what if you don't like him? So what if you don't like his politics? Yeah, he said some stupid things about certain groups of people. We're judging his baseball career. That's what we're judging here. We're not judging whether or not you're going to go out to dinner with him.
But as you know, it's the only Hall of Fame that puts character on the list.
Oh, and
gives them all the out that they want.
And that's a bunch of crap. Okay, character. What type of character are we talking about here? We're talking about going out to dinner after the game character? Meet your daughter character? We're talking about character on the ball field. He's 11-2 in the playoffs. Okay? He was the ace of 3 different staffs. He's arguably the best postseason pitcher of all time. He's got more wins than like 8 Hall of Famers, and I can rattle off the top of my head. Are you serious? Not going to put Kurt Schilling in the Hall of Fame. Honestly, if you had one game to win in your life, he'd be one of the top 3 pitchers you'd give the ball to. Come on. What are we doing?
Do you think do you really think he gets in?
I do, because Mark, you know what? I think he would have got in if he hadn't run his mouth. He had 71% of the vote, and he had 1 more year left of eligibility. And he got so honked off that he didn't get in. He basically MF'd everybody who was voting for him. And so some of them said, well, fine, if you want it that way, I won't vote for you. If he had kept his mouth shut, I think he'd already be in.
And that's why I don't think he gets in, because he badmouthed the Hall of Fame, and they're going to take that personally. They always do. And while your arguments are all very good, I think at the end of the day, they have their out on character. They have their out that he said he didn't want to be in after all of that, and they'll give him what he wants at the end of the day.
Well, he did say, though, he wanted this committee to vote on him. He basically said, take it out of the sports writers' hands. They're a bunch of blankety blanks.
Most of them aren't even sports writers anymore, but they still get a Hall of Fame vote because that's how the Baseball Writers Association operates.
That's all right, Mark. I know people who have nothing to do with sports who get to vote for the Heisman. I mean, you know, we could go on and on about this one.
Once a voter, always a voter, David. And we ask all of you today to make sure you get out and vote as well, because that one's important. JP Peterson's next. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Listen, I watched Schilling for 3 hours one time do a talk to an Alzheimer's group and stay afterwards and talk to every single person who was in the room and sign everything that was asked of them and pose for every picture that was asked of them for 3 hours. You know, we've all got stories, good and bad, about, you know, we all have good and bad about ourselves. It's the Baseball Hall of Fame. Should it be in it, yes or no? The answer is abso-frickin-lutely.
I want the Colts to win that division now. I do.
Oh, he skipped it. This is not bad for football. He doesn't know how to coach. He's going to pay his dues. He didn't do this. He didn't do that.
Who gives a shit? He knew the owner. Do you know how many jobs in life are given to people because they know the right person? This is a life story, everybody. Get used to it. Lighten up, Buttercup. Holy crap. Everybody acting like this hasn't happened before. It's a football team. It's not our government, for crying out loud. Oh,
wait.
That was okay. Because it was your guy. KW, that's funny.
Hey, listen, there are people that want Louis Riddick to be the general manager of their team. The Giants interviewed him last year. He got an interview for the GM job.
Holtape is on hold. We're back in 10 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, Pat Kirwan to join us at the top of the hour to talk all things NFL. Matt Baker from the Tampa Bay Times 1 hour from now. He's JP Peterson, which is a good thing because he's hosting the JP Peterson show on FanStream Sports, fanstreamsports.com. Follow JP on Twitter, FanStream JP. JP, it's David and Mark once again. How you been?
Good morning, David and Mark. I've been well. It's a little bit of a struggle here for our Buccaneers, but a nice emotional win on Sunday. Hopefully cures all the ills, but I doubt it.
All right, we're going to throw it in underhanded so that you can set the record straight. You know, you said a couple of things that you knew, and people took it and kind of ran with it and kind of went off the highway with it. So just let everybody know what it is that you said and what it is you know to be true about John Gruden and South Florida has a football head coach opening.
Well, I have some very good sources within the USF athletic department and their boosters, having lived here for a very long time. And I can tell you this, that John Gruden is very interested in the USF job. Depending on the terms, I think if he was offered the job, he would jump at it. No question about it. Now, will USF offer him the job? And while many, outsiders might think, well, that's a slam dunk, USF is awful, why would they not offer John Gruden the job? Well, in this highly politically correct society, writing emails like he wrote does not pass muster, nor should it, quite frankly. There was a video out there with his apology at a touchdown club in Arkansas about a month and a half ago. Probably not the best venue to do such an apology, and I thought it came off pretty awkward myself. And I just think in a collegiate atmosphere where you have to be approved by the board of directors and a new president, Rhea Law, who was just installed, I think it's going to be a heavy lift politically to get past a lot of the things that were in those emails. That said, and then everybody can have their opinions on that. I really don't know if it's a great fit. John Gruden has never been a college football coach. He does not suffer young rookies very, very much as a professional and young players. I don't know if he would be able to work very well with young kids, but that remains to be seen. And it remains to be seen if the USF hierarchy are going to sign off on it. I can tell you there have been reports out there that USF would offer him the job. That is absolutely 100% not true. They have not fully vetted him. They have not met with him yet. And we'll see where it goes from here. I know they're considering meeting with him, and we'll see what happens. But right now, there's a lot of vetting that needs to be done for John Gruden. But I know he is very interested in the job.
Now that this has become a little more public, JP, how much back channeling can go on in getting maybe a little bit of the due diligence done without it creating a lot of noise right now? I mean, if it's something they want to do, they're going to want to work at this and probably try to keep it quiet. Is that possible right now?
No, it's not possible. And John's been very, he's been very public about being a USF supporter. He's been courtside at their basketball games with a local booster here that he's very good friends with, where he lives and where he plays golf. There are a ton of USF boosters out there. He's very popular with a lot of these men, a lot of the richer fellas here in Tampa that play over at Avila where he lives. They've all been buddies for a long time. It's very public. So everybody knows John wants to get back into coaching, and this I think would be probably his best shot to do so, because he has so many allies that are very big time boosters there, and he has a lot of support there. There's no question about it. There's a lot of big hitters that would love to see John Gruden here. I mean, and on the outside, for a program that has very little cachet, to get a name like that would be huge. Just having his name associated, I think, with the job is probably big for their program. It depends on where you come down on John Gruden. I mean, don't get mad at me about the emails. I didn't write them. So I'm just telling you who's interested, where the sides sit right now, and I'm very, very confident in all this information.
JP Peterson, host of the JP Peterson Show, weekdays 10 to noon, fanstreamsports.com, fanstreamsports.com. Follow him on Twitter at fanstreamjp. JP, we're curious because we don't know the answer to this question. Who can South Florida get? Like, can they, if they were to call, we had a poll question, if you will, yesterday, in which we said, Dan Mullen, Manny Diaz, Scott Frost, Deion Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
JP, can they get any of those four, or would all four of those candidates go, basically, that job's beneath me. I mean, that's, it wasn't that long ago in which, people would, think about even Jeff Scott. I mean, he said, I waited at Clemson for a long time and this was the right job. Dabo damn near pushed me out the door. You have to take this job, is what he told us when he got it. And now, obviously, he didn't work out. And what kind of a job? Who can they get?
It's a great question. I think if you're Dan Mullen and you've been successful in a Power 5, and obviously the Florida thing did not end well, but I think he'll get another shot at a Power 5. I think he's well respected. I think Scott Frost would be the slam dunk first choice for me because he did exactly what you need in Orlando at UCF. That's the template. He knows it better than anybody. That type of school, USF and UCF are very similar. They're kind of like commuter schools. And USF is still kind of like that. They don't have an on-campus stadium. That on-campus stadium, as crappy as it is, it changed the dynamic at UCF. It became an event on campus. Now, the difference is, in Orlando, they don't have any serious professional teams to compete with. I'm like, the Magic aren't there yet. And Orlando City, the soccer club certainly has a following. But they're the big deal in Orlando. USF is not the big deal here. They got, obviously, the Bucks, the Lightning, and the Rays to compete with. Plus, Florida State and Florida fans and Miami fans, too, have their allegiances. So it's a much harder lift here and to get that all the press coverage and everything else that you kind of need. And obviously, they don't have an on-campus stadium. But they're very much committed to that on-campus stadium now. It is the 11th largest market. I think other coaches like a Scott Frost would look at this and say, heck, there's the same thing I did at UCF I could do at USF. If I'm Michael Kelly, the AD, that's my first choice because he knows it. He's the college coach. He's proven he can win in this league. All those things he has on his resume. John Gruden does not. He has a Super Bowl, but that was in 2002 in professional football. This is a completely different animal in college football with NIL and recruiting and everything else. So Scott Frost would be my first. And I don't think Scott Frost, with what happened in Nebraska, he's not been successful as a Power 5 coach. Mullen has. So I think those other guys might not look at USF the same way that Scott Frost does. And I think Scott Frost, if he wants to get back into coaching, this would be a great opportunity for him.
If it is Gruden, how long will this take? How long should it take? Could they get it done in a timely manner at all?
If it, like I said, I know Gruden has a lot of interest in the job. He is ready. I think he wants his job. I know he's doing his due diligence in getting ready for meetings. I know that. So if all of this is signed off on the higher levels, I think it is. Again, I don't know if it's a heavy lift. I mean, the due diligence I think will be done this week. That'll be done this week on both sides. So if everything works out and everything checks out, and I think a lot of this, putting this John Gruden's name out there in the media, which was purposeful. Let's just be honest about that. But I know this to be true. I think they're kind of gauging the fan base to see what the reaction has been. And just from my tweet that I put out there and the stories that I put out there, there's been hundreds of thousands of engagements on Twitter. And I would say 65% negative, 65% negative from the fans. But most of the hardcore USF fans would love John Gruden. The ancillary people, why would you hire this guy? That stuff. That's the 65%. But the people that really love USF football, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them would love to see John Gruden as the coach.
Is it 65% negative because of the emails, or is it 65% negative? Oh, okay. So it's not because he doesn't have college experience and it's a totally different world.
I think there's some. I think the smarter football fans would look at it that way. Yeah, but most fans are like, "Oh, John Gruden, Monday Night Football. He knows offense. He's a great coach." And that's up in my mind. That's up for debate. And so, yeah, I think mostly the 65% negative are probably more the ancillary fans.
A gentleman in our Twitch chat room was curious what it is that you know about the Rays and a stadium, because Rob Manfred has all but pushed Oakland to Las Vegas, JP. And once that happens, there's only one team and one stadium situation for Major League Baseball to resolve before they can add two expansion teams and add $3 to $4 billion to their coffers. So And, the lease is up in 5 years. And if it takes 3+ to build the stadium, it seems as if we got to do something here. What's going on?
Well, the latest is there was a new parcel of land in downtown over by the aquarium, right on the water, that was purchased by a developer, Daryl Shaw, who's controlling most of the property and working with Hillsborough County officials, and has been for a long time, to find a spot for the Rays. So there's this new, suddenly this new parcel on the water that has everybody excited. And I think I think that there are 2 or 3 parcels in Ybor City that are very much up for, still up for discussion. Now, the big news is what Manfred said a couple of weeks ago. He mentioned Tampa specifically, and Mark Topkin at the Times wanted to say that's the way he always talks about Tampa Bay, and that's true. That's absolutely true. But I think the other verbiage in his statement specifically points to Tampa. He said it has to be a properly located stadium, which would infer it's not properly located now, which of course everybody knows. And Manfred reaffirmed his commitment to Tampa Bay. They're not leaving Tampa Bay. They will not leave this market. They're going to get a stadium deal done. I've been committed forever that it's not going to be in St. Petersburg. Major League Baseball does not want it in St. Petersburg. And that statement right there from Rod Manfred, I think 100% definitively says it's not properly located. So it's got to be in Tampa. And he said Tampa 4 times. So they are still concentrated on it. They're going to get the deal done. He also said he's supremely confident in Stu Sternberg, which I think is completely insane. But there's going to get a deal done here. I still think that if it's going to get done, Sternberg's either going to sell the team and bring in new ownership that's going to get the deal done. The development, you're seeing these developments, what's going on in Miami with the soccer stadium down there in Beckham, other places that are all privately funded. This is a no-brainer. We've talked about this many times. The development is red hot in Tampa Bay. Those parcels down there, you put condos and restaurants and everything else like they've done in Atlanta and in Texas and everywhere else. It's a great model, and it's just a gold mine waiting to happen. And Sternberg has been the impediment the entire time. And until he gets off his ass and really honestly negotiates with Hillsborough County, nothing's going to get done. But as you guys know, nothing gets done until the deadline approaches. And I think your timing is exactly right. It has to get done within the next year. And I still think it will. And there's too much money to be made. It's too obvious.
JP Peterson, weekdays, 10 to noon, the JP Peterson Show. It's on fanstreamsports.com, fanstreamsports.com, and follow him on Twitter at fanstreamjp. JP, we always appreciate you making time for us. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, guys. I'm going to buy you beers at my pub, the JP Brew Pub in the new stadium in downtown Ybor. So
awesome.
We'll see you in about 5 years.
Perfect. Can't wait. Thanks, man.
Yeah, we got a date. All right. It's good to know.
Will it be at that stadium or USF's next new stadium? Who's going to have that stadium first? The baseball team, the on-campus stadium at USF?
I mean, South Florida's already approved it. So, yeah, I'm confident. 3 years, they'll be playing a home game. Certainly by the 2026 season, I think they'll be playing a on-campus home football game.
So before the lease is up at the Trop.
Exactly. So, I think he's right, though. I don't think the current owner, can get a whole lot of people to give him money and get behind him.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a way in hell for Gruden to be the head coach at South Florida. I don't think you can get that all the way up the academian world and get him hired. I think it's a really nice news splash. I think it's a really interesting idea. I think it's the perfect place to resurrect your career if you're John Gruden. I just think it's too hard to get through the red tape of the academic world to get that job.
Hey, do you think you could make him your offensive coordinator? People keep, why do you mention Manny Diaz? Well, he was the head coach of the Canes, and they're going to have 30 of his recruits transfer off of this team. In theory, they could all go to South Florida. That's why I mention them. But, Mark, do you think Gruden could be an offense coordinator?
It'd be easier than a head coach, but I still think it's tough with those emails to survive. Pat Kirwan is next.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs, presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs, powered by Clutch Vodka.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around and get it.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts, flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, RCB, we've always liked JP. Did a good job on Lightning for a long time. So, Mark, what's the forecast?
For what? The hurricane?
Yeah. Like, is this...
It's moved north a little bit this morning.
So isn't it more of a concern for where I'm going? Or no?
I mean, basically, you're in the cone and we're in the cone, David. Looks like it's going to hit just north of, like, West Palm.
Gotcha.
And then it's going to kind of button hook. So it's just a rain event. I mean, but hopefully it swings north again so we don't get the blue tarps rain down. That's really the only problem.
No doubt.
Hey, Pat.
How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Just bought my wife a car yesterday.
All right.
I got a dentist appointment right after this. I'm just getting all the shit done that I haven't done for months.
Right.
Where's that storm coming? Where is it going?
Well, we don't know, but it looks like it's veered a little north.
Yeah.
If anything, it's not even. It's not a whole lot of rain. It sounded like it's not going to be that big of a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, we just don't need the rain and wind on the blue tarps more than anything. That's the only thing that'll screw up.
Yeah.
Hey guys, Ray Stallone just called me and gave me Mark Starziak's number, so you guys know.
What the hell are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Oh, he said David. Oh, he probably meant the afternoon show. Okay.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Who is
Or who any of these people are.
Fort Myers tip-off stuff.
Okay.
He's tomorrow.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
Yeah. I have his number. They sent it to me in an email. He's tomorrow in the bonus hour.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Keep trying, kid. You can't hit a home run unless you're swinging at the plate. Come on. All right, boys.
I know you don't, Pat, but I want the Colts to win every game for the rest of the year. I know it won't happen. I'm just rooting for it.
I want them to lose every game for the rest.
I know
of the
you
year.
do.
Sorry.
I thought I was going to be removed from the air yesterday. I was so brutal. I had to do the show at Vic Carucci. He was, and Vic lives in fear of everything. He was scared to death that he was on with me and wanting to know what was going to happen to us.
All right, guys. Here we go. Coming back.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And just like that, it's the 8 o'clock hour. And since it's a Tuesday, that means Pat Kirwan. NFL Radio's moving the chains weekday afternoons 3 to 7. And during the season, Saturdays 2 to 5. Then on Sundays, well, the loafer works on CBS's NFL Today show. So you get the idea. For, like 5 months a year, he doesn't have a day off at all. And he joins us twice a week in his spare time, courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and a dozen locations in between. Pinchers battered and bruised in some locations, but Pinchers because you can't bake fresh. How are you?
I'm doing fine. We are now into the second half of the season. I think until now you really couldn't say it, but here we are, and I hope the Colts really have a good time the rest of the way. That's all I can say.
Well, I want you to say more, Pat. They hired Jeff Saturday. He's never coached. He was a talking head, and now he is running an NFL team. I just would love to get your thoughts on this because I know how much you love first-year coaches, let alone guys who have never done it before. I can't imagine what you think about this.
It's just another chapter in the Jim Irsay book of how not to own a team. That guy just doesn't get it. And you start tracking the way he's treated Frank and the decisions he's forced on Frank. I'm the happiest guy in the world for Frank. Escape that place. And Frank's a man of integrity, and he's a very good coach. No, goes back to the old days. Al Davis used to fire guys like crazy. And you know what you found out? You found out that the other teams around the league never blamed the guy who was fired for being fired by Al. I don't think this is going to hurt Frank Reich in any way, shape, or form if he wants to coach again. But, he's also a preacher. He might get right back into that business.
If I was Chris Ballard, I would have resigned yesterday.
Did you see his face when they were sitting at the podium?
I wouldn't have sat at the podium. I mean, I'm not kidding. I think Chris Ballard is hurting himself to be a future general manager every day he stays on the job. I just do. But like Mark is trying to make, and I even at the beginning of the show, Pat said, Dion 8-10 years ago said, I could be the head coach of the Falcons. This is what's involved. And it didn't sound ridiculous to me. So I'm a bit hypocritical that I'm all over this Jeff Saturday hire. I mean, if he hires a competent offensive coordinator, a competent defensive coordinator, doesn't it just come down to, I mean, John Harbaugh doesn't call any plays, but he's a great leader of men. I mean, in theory, isn't a head coach a leader of men?
I'm stunned by this. You actually sound like you thought Barry Switzer was a good coach.
No, Pat, I think this is
and he
joke.
was a coach.
I think this is a joke. But in theory, if you can lead the room, isn't that a big part of the job?
Well, he can't lead the room because they don't even have a room until halftime of a losing game. And now Jeff Saturday is going to stand in front of that team. They're down 20-0 at halftime. What's he going to do? Where's his adjustments? Hey, listen to your assistants. I'm just Jeff Saturday. Forget it. This is an insult to coaching. A total insult to coaching. But you know what? I don't blame Jeff Saturday. He's a good guy. I blame the owner. And if I could go on, which I'm not going to, you know how I really feel about that guy.
Is he worse than the owner in Washington? And I know the guy in Washington's a worse guy, Pat. I'm talking about being a worse owner of a team trying to win football games.
Of course.
Is he really 32?
He is 32. Actually, he's 33. Someone out there is better who's not even owns their team, who could just come in and improve that place. No, what he's done to Matt Ryan, and I love this. We're going to stay with Ellinger. Okay, 0-2, no touchdown passes, 11 sacks. Do you think any of the players in the room believe we're going to win a game again? None of them.
Well, when they benched Ryan, the offensive linemen, they're the guys who practice with all the quarterbacks. The offensive linemen could not endorse the move. They couldn't find one guy to say, hey, Sam will give us a lift, blah, blah, blah.
They know that Sam's no good. He's a late round rookie who at the Senior Bowl said he's a heck of a running back. That's who he is. And now he's in charge. And that when they use that language, David, and you brought it up the last time, that, oh, by the way, Matt's injured, but he's never coming back on the field. And there's Matt on the sideline trying to help this kid. Is this, okay, this is to you, Mark. Are they just trying to get themselves set up so he can have the first draft pick?
It looks like a tank job to me. Here's the question I'd ask back, though, Pat, because I'm someone who doesn't always want to retread and coach. And it's my hockey background. But the difference in hockey, as you well know, is that a head coach can coach in the minors and work his way up and learn how to coach before he gets an NHL job. You don't really have that opportunity in the National Football League because Saturdays are not Sundays. How do the other coaches handle this? I know that they're getting paid and they have to do a job and all of that. But, Pat, all the guys that were just passed over for this interim job, how are they going to handle it?
They all know they're getting fired at the end of the year. They all know that Jeff Saturday is going to disappear with whatever paycheck they gave him. He's not going to be the head coach next year. And everybody, as I said last week, are in their office with the doors closed, calling around, getting ready to where to send their resume. They know this thing's going to blow up. Here's the real question to you, Mark. What NFL coach with credentials would take that job knowing who the owner is?
Well, that's the thing you've taught me, Pat, and I do listen, is that good coaches, you've said, interview owners, not the other way around.
Correct.
That leaves out that means that this will be a first-year guy.
Absolutely.
Their next head coach will be a first-time head coach. You can almost book it.
Yep. And do you think that the GM, back to David's point, do you think the GM is going to run that search? He might be the one setting up the interviews, but eventually Big Jimmy's going to pick one. And it's going to be worse than ever. But I'm just so disappointed in the whole trail of things that have gone on to this point. Getting rid of Wentz, Frank wasn't going to do that. Whether we like it or not, Frank was wanting to coach that guy. Firing the kicker, then having his, attack on Snyder, which wasn't his place. It's not about everyone's entitled to have an opinion. It's not his place to do that. and he did it. And then he had Frank fire the OC, and then he fired Frank after he said he's not firing Frank. And now he hires Jeff Saturday. This list, when you think it's bad, only Jim Irsay could figure out how to make it worse.
Pat, it seems as if, quite frankly, there's a real opening here, probably not this year, but beginning next year for Jacksonville. Houston's a mess with a bad roster. It's going to take them a little while to upgrade that roster. Indianapolis is a mess. It's going to take a while to, get their act together. I mean, that only leaves one other team for Jacksonville to have to overcome. Now, you know how I feel about the Titans. I think they're the most underappreciated franchise in the league, and I think only the Chiefs have more winning seasons consecutively than the Titans. But, I mean, Pat, if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars right now, you're looking around going, wow, we got a real opening here.
No, it's a great point, but I could say that about every division except the NFC East and the AFC East. There's not one division except the two Eastern ones that have a combined winning record in the division. None of them. There are 8 divisions, 6 have a losing record or tied. When you add up their wins and losses and you look around and go, don't you think everybody thinks they can get back into those races? I think that's the way it looks.
And Pat, in that AFC East, things may have changed dramatically. Josh Allen has an elbow injury. We don't know the extent of it, but it certainly is something that would change the entire league right now. And the Bills were pretty nonchalant about it in their presser yesterday.
Well, they're hoping it for the best, and they kind of probably know the reality. I talked to Dr. Chow about it yesterday. We all know that he's had it before, right? This is not his first time with it. Chow didn't think he was up to Tommy John surgery, but he thought it was reasonable to presume he might miss 3 to 5 weeks. And there goes your point, Mark. Now it's going to be what's going to happen in that thing. And here, I got to stop and go back to my old team. The Jets' credibility doubled down. They are actually good. Now, the quarterback's not going to be good enough to do anything yet. He's just not that there. But their defense can play anybody. And Miami, come on, let's go to it. So, yeah, I think if Josh is down for a few weeks, watch out.
Bills host the Vikings this week. That's a very interesting matchup. And, Pat, let's take the injury and put it aside. For those of us who were trying to nitpick about the Bills heading into the Jets game, they need to run the ball more without using Josh Allen. And, the Bills have a tendency to lose more close games than they win. And the Bills in the past years have thrown away games that if they had won, they would have hosted more playoff games. Well, guess what? That's still all right there on the table. For as much as we love the job the GM and the coach are doing, they lose a lot of close games. They lose games they shouldn't lose. They can't run the ball unless the quarterback's running it. I mean, for goodness sakes, when are they going to correct these problems?
I think you described every team in the league. Is anybody undefeated except Philadelphia? So they are who they are, and they are driven by, look, no different than if Lamar's not on the field in Baltimore. No different, really, if Mahomes isn't on the field. So we know that there's a lot of teams that are generated by the quarterback, and without them, they're nothing. Look, before that game on Sunday, we all said Buffalo was either the best or the second best team in the NFL. So what's that say about the NFL? How bad is the NFL? Are these games close because everyone's so good? Or are these games close because everyone's so bad? I like your answer.
Latter. I think it's the latter.
Mark?
I think it's the latter.
Yeah.
There are not very many good football teams, and even the good ones seem to have, as David pointed out, all seem to have flaws, with the exception right now of the Eagles, who are undefeated. And until they play somebody, which there's 2 games left on their schedule that we actually think they have an opponent, I don't know when we're going to find out anything about the Eagles anytime soon, Pat. That's the question that we have to ask.
I'll ask you a quick question for a yes or no answer. Is Jalen Hurts the MVP?
Might be Geno Smith.
Yes. Geno.
Miller and Moulton. More with Pat Kirwan coming up on the other side. Pat's appearance brought to you by Pinchers. Pinchers with locations from Tampa to Key West. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Our remaining time with Pat Kirwan on the other side, right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
No, they're silver and maroon. These are, I don't even know whose colors these are.
All I can say is Oh yeah. Well, I have to say, did you guys get? I have a level of encouragement for Justin Fields right now that I didn't think I was going to reach in 2022.
That was a highly entertaining game to watch.
Yeah, the guy, he's stepping up.
Yes.
I just like his demeanor. Like, he's a really fine athlete, but the guy's not flipping out, and you can tell from his face he's not freaking out either when he's not playing well. He's just kind of a steady guy that is grinding through this learning process. I thought he took a nice big fat step this week.
Well, I got to give the Bears coaches credit. Apparently during their bye week, they really took a look around the NFL and sought some advice, and they kind of changed the offense even a little bit more to suit Fields, and they've scored 90 points their last 3 games.
Yeah. Did you guys get plane reservations for the Packers funeral, which is now?
Pat, if you take a look at the Monday Night Football schedule and how promising it looked 2 months ago, and the teams that are on it, we have 2 Colts games the rest of the season. Okay, we have 2 Arizona Cardinals games, one of which is in Mexico. We have a Green Bay Packers game the day after. Is it the Monday before Christmas? Yeah, the Monday before Christmas.
Oh, I feel bad for you. I feel bad for Troy. He's got to try to sell that to the.
I don't feel badly for any of them. They all got big pay raises to do these games, and that's what you get with Monday Night Football. Enough of this. We feel sorry for everybody. Holy cow.
Mark, they feel sorry for you.
They should. Fat and broke.
I enjoy your edge, Mark. You got one too, dog.
I mean, come on. Poor guys have to work Monday Night Football, and they get some bad games. Boo-hoo.
You know what's going to happen, Mark? We won't be watching them.
I don't watch that many of them anyhow. By the time Monday comes, it's got to be intriguing to watch. Last night didn't do anything for me.
No.
And that's the thing. What looked good on paper at the beginning of the season. Oof.
Yeah.
Oof. We have Bills Bengals on January 2nd in Cincinnati. It's about the only good game on our schedule the rest of the way.
Yeah. Do you think they'd love to have a Seattle game? My boy is doing it. Remember that, Mark? Seattle.
Unbelievable.
Yep. 6 rookies. Now they're going to Germany.
Yeah, and they're the more solid team right now.
They're going to get after Brady, I can tell you. They are not sitting around.
30 seconds.
What kind of card you got?
My wife likes Ford Edge.
Okay.
She always gets those. She had the one she lost was a Ford Edge. She tried to look at General Motors stuff, but funny story because I had that big discount from General Motors. So I go and I I make the guy give me the price quote. I go right to the Ford dealer and say, "Hey,
5 seconds.
This is a GM discount." And he goes, "Screw it, I'll give you one too." I was like, "Yeah, thanks, perfect."
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan, weekdays NFL Radio 3 to 7. The show's called Moving the Chains. Also Saturdays 2 to 5 during the NFL season. Then Sundays, he's part of CBS's NFL Today show. He joins us on Tuesdays and Fridays in the 8 o'clock hour, courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and many points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh.
Pat, we spent a little time during the break talking about the Bears quarterback. Let's talk about the guy that he played against. Tua, once again, plays a really nice football game, a clean game, couple of passes at the end I think we all thought he should have made. But regardless, they had an easy spot on their schedule, and good teams get through easy spots on their schedule. I don't know where Miami ends up at the end of the day, but they're doing all the little things right now they need to do, Pat.
They are. Tua is, we were talking about guys taking the next step, and Tua is taking the next step. He's thrown for over 600 yards the last 2 weeks, 6 touchdowns. So he's producing. And with the way that defense looks, Mark, I think he's going to have to keep playing like that because they're starting to look a little, I don't know if you want to just say bad. I wouldn't say that, but I don't know that I could trust him to win the game if Tua was having a bad day.
Who's in the playoffs right now that you don't have faith in? And very quickly, we all know who the division leaders are, but the wild cards in the NFC right now are Dallas, the Giants, and San Francisco. And the AFC wild cards are the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Chargers, with the Bengals and Patriots a half a game behind the Chargers. Who of those 6 wild card teams are you most worried about?
The Giants. I think, and I like all of them to be in there. They're earning their way in, but you asked me to pick one. That would be the first, and maybe the Jets second. It's the quarterback at the Jets, and it's the Giants overall. They really are they going to be able to, if they're in the fourth quarter of a playoff game and they're down 10 points, can they throw the ball well enough to come back and win it? My answer to that is not yet. They're a Saquon Barkley run team, and I think the same thing of the Jets. If they got in trouble, and that defense is pretty good, but if they got in trouble and I had to ask Wilson to do it, not there yet.
the Bucks come from behind. They beat the Rams. Did we watch a Tampa team that's transitioning into being a good football team, or did we watch what you were asking earlier, just a couple of bad football teams on a Sunday, Pat?
Yeah, I think they're obviously not what we thought they'd be. And what happened this week, I thought, was the Tampa defense against the run has really slipped since that Kansas City game. And then they got a chance to go against a team that can't run the ball. And that kind of helped them hide their warts for a week. But they're playing Seattle in Germany this week. Okay, things will be different. And Vita Vea can't run all day. And I love the way that guy's playing. If I was Seattle, I would go no huddle in the first quarter and run a lot of toss plays and get the big pizza delivery man to get out there every time.
I forget the college coach that said to us at CBS a couple years ago, they talk about players getting their second wins. You know who doesn't get a second win? Big guys.
They don't.
No, and he did. He said, you get that tank empty, it doesn't refill during the game. They're done. And that's where tempo can really affect a team because, that a wide receiver and a running back can seemingly get a second win. The 330-pound guy, not so much.
Well, and I'll say this for the Seahawks, at least their tackles, who are big guys, are 20 years old. So try being 30 years old and empty the tank. Not good.
Pat, when you talk about Seattle and what they're doing right now, I mean, you got the 2 rookie tackles, you got 6 rookies playing, you got Geno Smith, who might be the MVP. Is there a secret sauce going on here? What is it that you see that others are not? Because as we mentioned during the break, Geno Smith could be an MVP. He's an MVP candidate right now, and there's no denying that.
Well, Pete's not afraid to play young guys, and he put all those kids on the field right away. He didn't have they need a year to develop, and he designed it that way. When he didn't re-sign Dwayne Brown, we were all going, oh, my God, who's going to play left tackle? Well, the draft pick's playing left tackle, and the other draft pick's playing right tackle. And the running back, Pete loved that kid coming out of Michigan State. And the corner, he found him at the Senior Bowl, Tariq Woolen. And he's got the other kid who's playing the nickelback, and now Boye Mafe, who he found at the Senior Bowl, the Minnesota kid, is playing all the times. Once you say you're not afraid to play him, and then he builds it around these guys a little extra each week, you land up with a team at midseason that's young and playing fast. And Geno, look, I was giving Pete a hard time. You got to be kidding me. No, you don't know. And I knew Geno could throw, but I really never knew that Geno grew up, and he did. He is completely under control now.
What are your thoughts about the Packers? I mean, they've won 13 games each of the last 3 years. Yeah. They lost one guy on defense, and they lost one wide receiver. And now they're 3-6. What's going on?
It looks really, really bad. I didn't see this coming at all. And Rodgers, to me, even the way he's throwing the ball, he's lobbing a lot of balls out there. I don't know if the thumb's bad or what, but they haven't really become a team. The unidentifiable stuff, the subjective stuff, they're not playing the way they've played in the past as a group. And that defense has really disturbed me up front that they couldn't stop the run. They were a good-looking group. So now this week they got crushed with injuries. I think they have 5 guys on the injury report coming out of that game, and they've lost a couple of them for the next couple of weeks. So they're going the wrong direction. I would think the season's over for them.
What direction are the Patriots going in? We talk about this AFC East. We've talked about the Bills and the Jets and the Dolphins already, but the Patriots quietly keep winning games. They seem to be figuring some things out. Where are they at right now, Pat?
They're in my mind, when you look at those guys, they're just a steady, you know what you're going to get every week. It's not going to be great, but it's not going to be bad. And they're going to land up being a team that Parcells said it first, and Belichick, I think, lives it. Just wait for the other guy to lose the game. You just keep playing clean, and sooner or later, half these coaches will give you the game on a platter, and you can take it from them. So what do I think they're going to be? I think they're going to be a 9 or 10 win team, And I think they're going to be right on the edge. It'll be a matter of who they really beat for the head-to-head to slide in as a 7.
A Jets-Patriots game, when it gets played, it's going to be a big game. Big
It
game
is.
for both teams, because the Jets' playoff spot is not secure by any means. What do you make of my Titans there? I mean, they nearly beat the Chiefs with a quarterback who's clearly not ready to play in the league. I mean, is this just a nice run by them, or are they actually a contender once they get Tannehill back?
Well, they're teaching a lot of coaches in this league a lesson, and that is not everybody should be building an offense that looks like Kansas City or it looks like Buffalo. You can cheaply build a power run team with big physical linemen and a big horse back. And if you're going to do it, get 2 or 3 backs and play close to the vest. And they've lost defensive players, but they're old school. Now, I've said it on this show before. I'll say it again. I don't know if they can go the distance, but I do like that they're old school and you can win regular season.
He's Pat Kirwan, CBS's NFL Today show, weekday afternoons, NFL radio, moving the chains from 3 to 7 on Saturdays during the season. It's also 2 to 5. And Pat joins us courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West. Many points in between Pinchers because you can't fake fresh. Pat, be safe, be well. We'll talk again Friday. We'll go through the games.
Very good. Take care, man.
Pat Kirwan joining us once again here on Miller and Moulton.
Boy, he's really high on that Jeff Saturday hire. I don't know if I've ever heard Pat that angry about a hire.
Yeah. Pat's a glass half full guy when it concerns the National Football League, but not on that one.
And he's also the one saying the football's not that good league-wide, and that's tough to get out of Pat Kirwan's mouth. Miller and Moulton. Matt Baker, Tampa Bay Times. We'll talk some college football next right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, sandboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So during the day yesterday, it was starting to get just a little warmer in this room. And it got all the way up to 66. And I said, well, I'll go and we'll do the game and come back 5-6 hours later, and maybe the room will be somewhere between 68 and 70. I walked back in the room and it's 64 degrees after the game.
Did you see yesterday that a top A&M recruit decommitted and he's going to visit Texas this weekend?
5-star.
But he's going to visit Texas.
I know that hurt.
It's one thing. Guys are going to decommit. That's part of the process. This is what's going to happen. But he's leaving to go visit Texas.
Mm-hmm.
It's like right as Texas comes into the SEC, looks like they're going to have their you-know-what together. A&M's a grease fire. Oh, this could not be going any worse for College Station right now.
No. Nope.
I listened to some of Bud's Cover 3 yesterday, and there's guys on his Cover 3 that are saying Nick's going to resign at the end of the year. Hard to get through that.
Yeah, I don't see it, only because I think he's like Belichick. I don't think he would embrace the TV thing. He would do it, but I really don't think it would scratch the itch. But he's 71.
Matt está en espera. He's on hold.
Thank you.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Our final segment of Miller and Moulton for those listening in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte to Venice. The bonus hour awaits at the top of the hour for our loyal listeners in the 239. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Matt Baker covers college football for the Tampa Bay Times. He's an AP Top 25 voter, a Heisman voter. You can follow him on Twitter, MBakerTVTimes, MBakerTVTimes. Matt, it's David and Mark once again. Good morning. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. Hope you guys are doing well.
How about spending your day doing John Gruden rumors? I didn't think you probably had envisioned that when the day began yesterday.
No, I'll put it this way. Obviously, we knew Jeff Scott, the USF coach, there was a good likelihood that he would be fired at some point. And I'm staring at the list of roughly 20 names I had jotted down over the previous couple of weeks just to be prepared. And John Gruden was not on them. So when there were some rumblings in Tampa Bay circles yesterday about him being the next head coach of the Bucs, and I was hearing some rumblings and started making some calls. And I mean, never say never. We live in a multiverse of infinite possibilities, guys. But I would be absolutely, absolutely stunned if it happened. And the thing that I would say, I mean, forget about the fact that he hasn't coached college football since 1991. Here's the thing that I would find it very hard to get over. He would be coaching at Raymond James Stadium, where the Buccaneers play, where they took his name off the Ring of Honor. Like, the idea of that happening, just that optics, that situation, I would find that very, 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 very hard to believe. So that's where I stand on the groomers at 8:39 a.m. on Tuesday.
Matt, you asked this question rhetorically about a month ago when we first started going down the Jeff Scott may not make it road. And now we really have to answer this because it's not a hypothetical. Who would take the South Florida job? Like, could you get a Dan Mullen to work it back and starting at South Florida? Would Scott Frost come back to the AAC, and do what he did 70 miles to the west of where he did it previously? I mean, would Dion take South Florida, or would he say, it's cute, I'll wait for a Power 5? I mean, who can they get?
Yeah, that's ultimately one of the biggest questions here. Let's go in order. Mullen, I don't think so. I think he would have his sights set higher than a Group of 5 program, maybe like not this specific job, but a job like Louisville or Purdue. I mean, again, I don't think those jobs are open, but somewhere along that line would be a place for him to bounce back that would be better than USF for him. Scott Frost is very interesting because obviously he was so great at UCF. I'm sure there are examples of a coach hiring the rival school's former coach, but not many come to my mind immediately. And he did fail spectacularly at Nebraska. So honestly, I think of the names that you mentioned, he would make the most sense. Dion is obviously the shiniest toy on the market, and deservedly so. I mean, I did not think at all that he would work at Jackson State. I thought he would fail. And certainly when he got mentioned in the Florida State search a couple years ago, my boss messaged me at one point, and I laughed and said, "Please, I'm on a run right now. Don't bother me with this nonsense." But here we are 3 years later, 4 years later, whatever it is. And yeah, Dion would be great for USF, but Dion, I think, will have a better job. I think when he leaves Jackson State, it's not going to be for a Group of 5 program. It's going to be for an Auburn, Ole Miss, Georgia Tech, Arizona State, whatever the other one Power 5s open this cycle. A job like that, not USF.
I want to switch gears from USF to FSU because it's been a turnaround. You wrote about it yesterday in what Norvell is doing there. And in a year's time to turn around that loss the way they did and to see where FSU is right now, I don't want to say it's remarkable, but it is, I think, a touch surprising based on what people were thinking Norvell was doing. He's starting to get some players now. The recruiting efforts are paying off, and the on-field product's paying off.
Yeah, it's been a slow build, which isn't, I mean, it still happens in the transfer portal era, but patience is a lot thinner. You look at like Dan Lanning at Oregon, where first time head coach, they're very much in the college football playoff discussion, top 10, probably going to win the Pac-12. You look at Josh Heupel at Tennessee, year 2, they're in the college football playoff discussion. You look at Brian Kelly at LSU, they're the SEC West front runners at this point in year one. So it's easier now to just, flip a switch and boom, bring in these portal kids and it works and that's that. But that's not how it went for Norvell at FSU. Obviously, the COVID year was a big factor. That was an enormous speed bump. Nobody holds that against him. But even last year, 5-7, they were better, but not a ton better. And for them to make that jump this year, to me, it's a sign that the old method can still work, where you build it up a little bit slowly, where you have the patience and you have the time to bring in guys that fit what you do. And again, a lot of those guys are transfer portal. Johnny Wilson, Micah Pittman at receiver, Trey Benson had a great game against Miami at running back. So you can bring in some of those guys as quick fixes, but also just develop guys in your program and have a turnaround where at this point, I would think they win out. 10 wins is a feasible possibility, including the bowl, and showing that trajectory. And the lesson there to me is Florida and Miami fans are unhappy with how the turnaround's working, or the speed of the turnaround with Billy Napier and Mario Cristobal. Norvell is showing that the old way, the patient, couple years way, can still work at a high level.
And Matt, we think that the way Norvell is doing it is that this is now sustainable. This isn't like the Dino Babers way, which he seems to have 2 bad years, a really good year, 2 bad years, a really good year. We're of the belief, based on he's got a bunch of young guys on this team, and with the way recruiting seems to be falling into place, we think he is successfully building something that's only going to get better, right?
I do. I have concerns at quarterback, just because Jordan Travis, I'm assuming he's gone. I think he has another year of eligibility. I can't keep it all straight because of COVID and all this stuff. Feels like if he's back next year, it'd be his 80th year. But if he's gone next year, then, AJ Duffy was probably going to be ready. He's a very talented redshirt freshman. But, and Jordan Travis has been really good this year. He kind of stirs the whole drink there. So, aside from that, yeah, I think this is sustainable. I think it's the culture and the system that he has done, his play calling, bringing in good assistants and having the patience to make it work. Yeah, I think they're set up for success. Do I think they're going to win a national championship? I don't know yet. I don't know. He had a close game against Clemson, a 6-point loss. That's not going to be good enough forever at Florida State. And I don't know if he can win those big games because he hasn't done it yet. But as we sit here today, yes, I think this is sustainable, where he has elevated the floor of Florida State quite a bit, and we'll see how high the ceiling goes.
He's Matt Baker. He covers college football for the Tampa Bay Times, an AP voter, a Heisman voter. Follow him on Twitter, MBakerTVTimes, MBakerTVTimes.
It was other than the Jeff Scott firing, it was a pretty good little Saturday for football in state. The FSU Miami game, obviously, but Florida went to A&M and won a complete game. Their defense wasn't great because A&M's not scoring anybody, but Richardson was good. Their defense was solid in the second half. They made adjustments, and the Gators made a step because, to me, it's one of the most complete games they've played. Obviously, I think the most complete game they've played probably since Utah.
Yeah, I would agree with that assessment. We're starting to see some progress there. I was asked a couple weeks ago, where is Florida better than they were at the beginning of the year? And I had to pause, which is not a good sign. But I think we're definitely seeing some progress there, where, as you said, the defense played a lot better. I think Anthony Richardson is leveling out a little bit, where he's eliminating some of the disastrous plays that he made really his first year and a half of significant playing time. So he's kind of improving just in the consistency aspect, and the run game is definitely a huge piece of this identity, and it's going to be, I think, for as long as Napier's in Gainesville. So yeah, they're making progress there. I think they beat South Carolina and Vanderbilt to have a chance at a nice little first season with Billy Napier. Not a huge success, nothing like that, but something where they end the season better than they started, generally speaking, and giving some optimism for that this thing can turn around, and more importantly, showing recruits that they're on the right track so they can kind of try and keep this top 10 class.
Well, we all knew that second weekend in November, Matt, that the biggest game in the state was going to be UCF at Tulane, right, baby? A battle of ranked teams, which I guess is the first time Tulane's been ranked and hosted a ranked team since LSU in the 40s. But in all seriousness, big game for Gus in this program. The thought was he was going to get it back to where Scott had us. And if so, you at least got to win your side, right, and get in the title game.
Yeah, UCF's been kind of a weird team to follow because I didn't write them off after the Louisville game, but after losing to Louisville, it was like, ooh, this team, maybe they're not quite there. But since then, and obviously they had the East Carolina loss that was just an egg that they laid. But look, beat Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a good team. Beat SMU handily in the second half. Winning at Memphis is always tricky. You take your conference road wins when you can. They are doing a little bit better than maybe I expected at the beginning of the season. And Tulane, obviously they were not on my radar as a top 25 team in August. But that's what makes this sport so fun. Where they beat Kansas State earlier in the year, and that's a win that was good at the time. Looked a little bit better a couple weeks ago. And it's a fun Tulane team to watch. Different styles there, which styles make fights, so that'll be interesting to watch. And yeah, that's a huge game in the AAC for potentially the spot in the New Year's Six Bowl.
TCU, Oregon, LSU. Where did you have them in your top 25, Matt?
Yeah, so TCU, I believe I had them fourth. I'm pulling it up here. TCU fourth. Oregon was 6, LSU was 7 is where I came down. I put Tennessee at 5 just because of the overall body of work. I don't think TCU is a great team. I think eventually it's going, they're just not deep enough, and the defense isn't good enough. Eventually, I think it's going to cost them. But for them to be doing what they're doing in year one under Sonny Dykes, to have them very much in the playoff mix second week in November, that's a fantastic story for them.
Matt, and I know it's tough to take your reporter's hat off for a second and put it to the side. Well, you know what? Put the hat back on. No Alabama, no Clemson, it looks like, in the playoff this year, and really serious discussion of either. I don't know if Clemson and the ACC can get back in the playoff conversation the rest of this year. Just your thoughts on it. We haven't had that in the last 7-8 years. Is this good for the sport? I argue it is.
I definitely think it's good for the sport. My wife's a big college football fan. I'd say she's more a casual college football fan rather than a hardcore fan. She doesn't want to see Alabama and Clemson in it every year. She wants a different team. When we were talking last year before the championship game, she was like, "Oh, great, Alabama and Georgia again. That's awesome." And I think a certain amount of the fans, just average college football fans, feel that way. So it will be very nice to have some new blood. And that said, I think the national champion will be Georgia or Ohio State. I'm not breaking any news here, so it's not like it's some hot young program on the rise that's going to win it all. And the playoff, it's going to be the teams that have the most dudes, and that's clustered among a handful of the programs, and you know who they are. But still, if TCU is able to sneak in Tennessee, Oregon, somebody like that, just to get some fresh names in there, that's exciting. That's good as long as you have a couple of the heavyweights in there as well to kind of balance it out.
How concerned should the Canes fan be quickly? All right. Or can you just wipe this year off and Mario's going to get rid of 30, 40 guys and we won't even talk about this year ever again?
I think you should be concerned with the game management. And there were some plays where I don't know that the effort was 100% there. And then a Florida State-Miami game, that's concerning. I think there are very valid questions about his game management that if you talk to people at Oregon, they were there. And through, 9 games this year, they are showing up in South Florida. There's going to have to be some hard discussions about how they fix that. Because I think Mario's great with the program building and the roster management and recruiting and all that stuff. But if you can't have the guys in the right situation on 3rd and 3 or in the red zone or whatever the case may be, you're not going to win a championship the way Miami expects. So they're going to have to really figure that out. I definitely think there are some concerns beyond just this is year one.
Matt, thanks for doing this. We always appreciate your time and your insight. Safe travels. Hopefully we can do this again around Thanksgiving.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
Matt Baker covers college football, Tampa Bay Times. He's an AP top 25 voter. By the way, Florida State in the AP poll, not in the coaches poll. We'll see what the playoff committee votes tonight.
I am fascinated by who gets this South Florida job because I don't know who wants it. Like, right? I'm fascinated for all the wrong reasons, if you know what I mean.
I actually think Scott Frost would take it because I don't think he'll get a better offer.
And they're going to set their sights higher. They would have to go down to Scott Frost because I don't think their heights where they think they're going to get someone or they're going to be able to get who they think they can. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
I'd make your bed, but
If
since
you
when
had
you're
the
ready to
opportunity
make
to avoid
mine,
all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I will say the suggestion of Tom Herman for South Florida, I like that. Heckle, I got to be honest, I've been a Norvell guy from the beginning, and somebody said earlier nobody thought that they would have this type of year. Yeah, actually, I did. I called 8-4 for the Noles this year. I think he's a good, solid coach who's doing a good, solid job, and that Willie and Jimbo had left that place in far worse shape than fans were willing to acknowledge. Yeah, I don't live in Southwest Florida anymore, so, when it comes to an airport, unfortunately these days I'm flying in and out of Jacksonville. I'd much rather be flying in and out of Southwest Florida. Let's see. Huge win for FGCU last night. Only the second time they've beaten a Power 5 team on the road. Because remember, the tournament games were a neutral site. 2 years ago, they won at Miami. So, yeah, great win.
Hello, in the words of Kirk Cousins. You like that? You like that. Also, Klecko, I don't have tickets. I work there.
Well, I mean, you could buy tickets.
I mean, true.
And it's not like tickets aren't
I don't
available.
have tickets. I work there
I just answering a question.
with a lot of attitude.
I work there.
That's exactly what it came off as.
I work.
Where do you
for
work for?
FGCU Athletics.
No, you don't. You're a contracted employee that works soccer games.
I work for basketball and volleyball now.
You do the video board, right?
Yeah.
Where would FGCU be if Andy never left? Well, first off, it's unrealistic to think of Andy never leaving. It was just a matter of were they going to be able to keep him for one more year. Yes, RCB, this team can go to the tournament, but this team still only thought of as like the fourth best team in the A-Sun. That's how good the A-Sun is this year.
I'm not trying to be a jerk here. Does that mean it's that good? I mean, because it's a conference that the number one team is going to be, what, a 14 seed?
Yeah,
I mean, deeper. I mean, it's still a bad conference.
Well, it's been at times a bad conference. I think the top of the conference this year is pretty good. Like, you know, I mean, FGCU won 22 games last year, and they're probably the fourth best team in the conference, just like they were last year. You know, Jacksonville's pretty good. Liberty's good. You know, Liberty, Mark, I think the 1 year, the highest in A-Sun in our time, the highest in A-Sun teams been seeded. I think 1 year Liberty got a 12.
Okay.
36.
And they won. I think they'd be like Mississippi State or somebody, but they won as a 12.
I will say the one thing that God forbid documentary gave me really enlightenment on is how beautiful that campus is. My goodness.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. And since we are a 239 exclusive audience at this moment in time, how about them Eagles? Just the second time they go on the road and beat a Power 5 team. FGCU, for those of you unaware that the college basketball season got underway yesterday and last night, deal with USC a few years, 2 games in Southern California, 1 game at FGCU. This is the third and final game of that series. Somehow I don't think the contract's getting renewed, Mark.
I do get a kick out of it. Like that one I understand, and I'm sure there are other reasons, but you just see these games. Like Michigan State played Northern Arizona. You couldn't find anybody closer than that. I mean, at least, you know, Duke and Jacksonville, it's a little, you know, Stetson played FSU. Those games make sense when you're going down, but I always find it crazy how they come up with these matchups the first couple of weeks because they're just trying to get games, and it makes for some interesting travel, to say the very least.
And FGCU, you know, I believe the athletic director, Ken Cavanaugh, made the trip. I'm pretty sure he and Andy had dinner, okay, in the last 48 hours. Somehow I don't see dinner again anytime soon. FGCU upsetting USC as an 18-point underdog. It was a close game at the half, and Eagles went on a 10-0 run mid-second half, and USC didn't have a response. Eagles win by 13, just the second time they've beaten a Power 5 team on the road. 2 years ago, they went to Miami and won. So, great start to the Pat Chambers era. I didn't like their chances to win last night. I loved them. I think it's tomorrow night. They're playing Steve Lavin in San Diego, and I loved them in that game. I thought they just needed a game.
They won't sneak up on San Diego now, that's for certain.
No, they will not. And the line, I think, has probably been cut by more than half. Hell, they might be a favorite on the road against San Diego for all we know.
So great start for FGCU. Pat Chambers and his crew getting it done at USC. What a nice win to start his coaching career at FGCU. And that will go a long way around these parts.
I think it will. I mean, we've seen it in the text line and the Twitch chat room today where people referring to them as Dunk City again. How about that? Not mocking the Dunk City, which has happened quite a lot here in recent years.
So big win for FGCU. College basketball getting started. Monday Night Football last night. The Ravens taking care of business in a dominant performance. That was a little bit lopsided than the final score of 27-13. They are on top of their division with that win, a game clear of the Bengals.
And baseball with a little interesting. First off, this is the week after the World Series where teams got to take care of business. Guys opting out of contracts. You have a few more days to sign your guys before they come free agents, because 7 days after the World Series is when the new baseball year begins. So, Anthony Rizzo opted out yesterday. Jacob deGrom opted out. Phillies picked up a starting pitcher's option, refused their second baseman's option. So some business taking place in baseball. The next few weeks will be busy, but also the contemporary baseball era ballot. 8 guys that are going to be voted on in 3 weeks. If they get 3/4 of the votes, they're Hall of Famers. 16 people vote. Bonds, Clemens, Schilling, Rafael Palmeiro, Albert Bell, Fred McGriff, Don Mattingly, Dale Murphy. The candidacies will be voted on in 3 weeks' time. Guys, many of whom people have very strong opinions about.
Based on what I have been reading, Fred McGriff is the leader in the clubhouse to get into the Hall of Fame of that group, which in and of itself is mind-boggling.
He's the it's how certain people get hired. We can't agree on this guy. Well, we're not going to let you have that guy. Well, who can we agree upon? And then you go to take out the notebook and you're like 4 or 5 pages in and you go, well, how about Frank? We can live with Frank. Can you live with Frank?
We can live with Frank. You know what? Frank.
Fine. We'll make Frank the commissioner. But you're not getting your guy. Well, you're not getting yours. Yeah. Call Frank. Tell him he's got the job if he wants it. Sure,
Why,
he
you're
didn't
setting
even
up
know
for
he was a
social media
candidate.
fights for the rest of the day of what's going to go on today. You're not getting your guy. Well, you're not getting your guy.
Yeah.
Well, the next 12 to 14 hours on social media, David.
Meanwhile, nobody's got a beef against the crime dog. What do you think about McGriff? Well, yeah, I could vote for McGriff. 493 homers, and the same number as Lou Gehrig. We don't think he cheated. No, he didn't cheat. It's 12, 13 years, 30 homers, 90 to 100 RBIs a year when that was a big number. I mean, yeah, I can vote for McGriff. I just wonder, if there's going to be all this angst towards Bonds, Clemens, Schilling, because this is the first time I think this committee's gotten a chance to vote for these
For
three.
this group, yes.
Right. So let's just say they're anti the, steroid guys, and Schilling not a steroid guy, but just considered, a jerk by too many guys on the committee to vote for. You wonder then, okay, all you guys, you're not going to vote for Schilling because he's a jerk. Well, then how about vote for Dale Murphy then? Not a jerk. Two-time
But as you've
MVP.
pointed out, his candidacy is going the wrong way.
It's remarkable. Come on. We're like, 3-4 years apart. The 80s was our baseball era on cable television. Didn't matter where you lived. You could get Cubs games, you get Braves games. Some of you could also get Mets games on Channel 9 WOR. Okay. the entire decade of the 80s, Mark, did you for one day think Dale Murphy was not going to the Hall of Fame?
No. Gold Glove fielder like 6 times, back-to-back MVP.
Playing center field, by the way. Was a 30-homer, 100 RBI guy playing center field when 30 and 100 were big numbers. You know, Mike Schmidt used to win home run titles at 37. You know, baseball went 15 years without a 50 home run guy from 77 to, Cecil.
I'm just trying to see what his WAR is, David, because that's all that really matters.
Right. Apparently that's it. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, boy. But, Mark, the whole time, like at the end of Murphy's career, when he was hanging on, and I thought, well, he's trying to get to 400, just have a nice magical number. And I think he retired at 398.
You are correct.
And I remember thinking when he retired, well, hell, K-Line got in at 399. Now, K-Line also at 3,000 hits.
Yeah, there's a little difference there.
I understand. But, the fact that Murphy played center field, 2-time MVP, K-Line played third, was never an MVP. Okay, but he did have 3,007 hits to go with 399 home runs, and he went in first ballot, I believe. And goodness knows he should have. And so I thought, well, hell, Murphy's going in. He's only got one less homer than K-Line. Nope, hasn't even come close. The writers, nothing.
And believe it or not, that stupid WAR number, like the average WAR number for a Hall of Fame outfielder's in the 70s. He's in the 40s for his career WAR number. But this is what happens the longer it goes, as opposed to gaining more momentum, David. What typically happens is they find more holes to poke in older players. That's just seemingly the way that this goes.
Well, Troy Aikman, when he played, everybody thought, oh, this is a great quarterback. They don't throw it around 35 times a game, but goodness knows if they did. This guy's tremendous. And when he went into the Hall of Fame, nobody batted an eye. Well, about 5 or so years after he went in the Hall of Fame, the whole numbers community got involved. And they started crunching the numbers, and they're looking at his final stats. And Mahomes has already thrown for more touchdowns in his career than Aikman did in his entire career. Aikman made a joke last night during the broadcast. They were, had a graphic about some of the highlights from this week in the NFL, and one of them was Mahomes' stat line against Tennessee, and he threw like 68 passes. And Aikman circled it and said, well, that's a month for me when I played. It's a different era. And you're right, Mark. Hey, the numbers community got Burt Blyleven in, though. Blyleven's in the Hall of Fame because of the nerds.
And Murphy's gone the other way because of them.
Correct.
So I don't think Murphy, I would love it. It would make me very happy as a fan of Dale Murphy if he were to get in on this committee. I don't think he will.
No, I think he got 3 votes the last time this committee voted. And Mattingly also got somewhere between 3 and 5.
And I've not seen a rise in his candidacy. The only thing that could help him is the hatred for the other guys that are on the list.
Right. I don't think, by the way, Albert Bell's a Hall of Famer. I think he had 5 years that were Hall of Fame career years. Just like Mattingly, to me, is a really close call because he had 6 years in a row that were without question Hall of Fame years. After that, unfortunately, the bad back, went from being a great player to a good player.
But this is the contemporaries Hall of Fame ballot. of which you will hear a lot about today. I had to laugh early in the Twitch chat room. Someone said, I read that list and thought it was a joke. There was part of me that read that list. When I saw it this morning and yesterday, I was like, wait a minute. Bonds is on a list to go into the Hall of Fame? How did this happen?
And it's my understanding, though, that, they vote December 4th and then they don't vote again for 3 years. So good luck, Dale Murphy.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You want to hit clutch play here?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not broadcasting FGCU anymore. I mean, they're coming to Jacksonville to play JU and UNF. I'll go. I'm going to reach out to both those universities and see if they need a broadcaster for baseball or softball or anything. But yeah, I did 20 years of FGCU. They had plenty of opportunities to hire me for a lot of different roles. They passed. Hell, wouldn't even make me a guest lecturer. Never mind to teach a class or anything. It's not like Mark or I know anything about communications. I mean, there's no wisdom that could be had from us. And nah.
Man, you would have been a hell of a professor.
We've only have real life experience. What the hell do the
Joe
kids today?
Spadani was teaching the sports marketing course there. He knows a lot about it. He only ran restaurants into the ground and was a Division III athlete.
Woo! Smells spicy in here. All right, 10 seconds.
There's a
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
.21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Big win for FGCU last night. Maybe get some people excited about that program again. Maybe head to a game again. I know many of you have been through a lot, and that's not on your mind, but Mark, that's how it works. I mean, winning headlines. I know we don't have local sports in Southwest Florida anymore, at least not on television, but, I know people got other things on their mind from what happened 5-6 weeks ago and election day today and all that, but FGCU beat USC in Southern California last night.
Maybe I'll go to a game this year. Trying to think of the last FGCU game I've been to. It's been a while.
So you didn't go when USC came to town last year and, it was Andy returning, triumphant return, the whole thing.
No, wasn't that on a Saturday night with college football going on?
No, actually, it was like a midweek. I think it was a Tuesday. Yeah, I did the banquet on a Monday night, so no.
It might have been Maction on or something like that.
There probably was.
Check and see Northern Illinois was playing that night.
I understand. Tough competition. It is. It is. Yep. But it's a hell of a way for the Pat Chambers era to begin. Big win. Get some headlines out of it. Good publicity. See if they sell a few tickets. Maybe a few people come back who had left. So we'll see. Hey, the Blades brought their whole audience back. Blades went through, a while ago, they went through a downturn and they went out and recruited a whole new audience and brought it back, and it brought it back in spades. It's not what it was in the first 5 years in your heyday,
but it's very, very good.
It's awesome.
Phelan, who's their marketing guy, has done a tremendous job over there with the resurgence of that team. I totally agree with you.
It was SRO for opening night 10 days ago. So done a hell of a job. And, it does help that, they're good.
Well, it helped that Hoffman bought the arena, put some money into it, cleaned the thing up because it desperately needed an overhaul, and it got it. New scoreboard and all the things that go along with that. I mean, the product now is as good as it's ever been I'm talking about from, in an arena standpoint. And FGCU, we'll see. Great start.
Yeah.
Build on it.
Yeah. And not only that, could maybe get a little national. Like if they can follow it up, beat Steve Lavin in San Diego. I think it's tomorrow night. Okay, good. That'd be great. It'd be awesome. And then let's see where they go from here.
And see how well it's received locally, because
Right.
you've got this station that has a local show on in the afternoon. We do a local hour.
Correct.
There's no real local sports broadcasts that go on in this market.
No. The games aren't on local radio. So
that was the first thing I thought this morning. They had the win. It's like, boy, it would have been cool to have that
call,
big announcement. And I don't, even if it's just streamed now, I don't know if things have to be on radio. You can have a streaming service, but you don't have your guy doing it. So if you were watching whatever you were watching the USC broadcast last night. So we'll see how they back it up. We'll see how many people show up, because they've had an attendance problem as well.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have. But what I found encouraging was how many people in our Twitch chat room referred to them as Dunk City after the win. Because they've been FGCU for a while. And so it was interesting. Now, maybe it's because they beat Andy, the architect of Dunk City, if you will. All right. But I found that interesting. And we have pointed out many times, there was also a big win in state. Stetson, another ASUN school, went to Tallahassee and beat Florida State. Ironically, both FGCU and Stetson were 18-point underdogs.
Stetson, at least I know, and I didn't see a money line. They were plus 1,100 last night on the money line against FSU.
Baby.
As Barstool pointed out, someone named after a hat beat FSU last night.
Yes, they did. In a bye game. I will say, I think Florida State paid at least double what USC paid. But
FGCU got a home game out of that too.
They did, no question. Right. It was a 2-1. Correct. USC was basically like covering costs yesterday. My understanding as to how much money FGCU got. Most buy games are in the 80 to almost 100,000 range, although ever since the pandemic, the buy has gone down a little bit. Teams were paying 90,000 with no problem 3 years ago. Now they've kind of reduced it a little bit.
But last night, FGCU, Coach Chambers, he was clutch with the K.
Look at you.
Felipe, what do you got for us today?
All right, 107-108. Heat down 3 with 8 seconds left. Max Strus hits a fadeaway 3 to tie the game. And then this happened.
That was a clutch shot. The Blazers get timeout. 4 seconds left. Here's Dame. Dame into the corner. Hart for 3 for the win. Got it! Blazers win! It's a Rip City winner! Josh Hart with the corner 3 to win it for the Trailblazers. 110-107.
I like that. A Rip City winner. That was a good call in the moment to pull that out.
He was wide open on that shot.
Imagine that. People paying all the attention to Damian Lillard with the ball. They left Josh Hart open. Huh. Funny.
Yeah, funny how that works out.
Oh.
Josh Hart getting our clutch play of the day. That's Clutch with a K, Clutch Vodka. Check them out at Total Wine. Go to Seaside Bar and Grill for their Clutch Vodka Dolphin watch parties on Sunday. Hell, since they started those, have the Dolphins lost?
I don't think so.
That Clutch. Get to that Bloody Mary bar and post all your Clutch drinks at clutchspirits.com.
When we had Pat Kirwan on a little over an hour ago, he asked, so who's your MVP right now? And I just said, it could be Geno Smith. Did you see the Sunday night game, though? Did you stay up for the fourth quarter and overtime? Kansas City and Tennessee. My goodness. You watch the fourth quarter and overtime and you'd say, how in the world can you give the award to anybody but Patrick Mahomes? He was ridiculous Sunday night. Put an entire team on his shoulders and said, God, you guys suck tonight. I'm going to have to do this myself.
But I'll keep slinging it.
Yes. because we can't even gain a yard running the ball. So I'm not even going to try anymore.
And if I got to run, if anybody's going to run, it's going to be me when I'm scrambling around. And I'll pick up 7 here and I'll pick up 18 here. I'll throw a little bit over here.
Yeah. Just you guys run downfield, take some defenders with you, and then I'll take care of it. So is it possible, by the way, is it possible that the quarterback at Miami could enter? Like we're wondering, can Stetson Bennett enter the Heisman conversation? Is it possible if the guy in Miami keeps playing the way he's playing, is it possible he can enter that conversation?
I think it's possible, but at some point, one of these great wins has got to come against somebody that we think a little more highly of.
Okay. Fair enough.
But David, he has certainly, at least in my opinion, gotten to the neighborhood, if you know what I mean. He's trick-or-treating in the MVP neighborhood. Now he's just got to knock on the right door.
He's getting the big candy bars, isn't he?
Damn right he is.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. How about all these assistant coaches having to go up to Jeff Saturday and shake his hand and give him that embrace hug there? They all seem really excited about it.
Hey, can you put in a good word for me somewhere else? Thanks. Nice to meet you.
If I put the over-under on Colts wins at the rest of the season at 1.5, where would you go? All right, 2.5.
Under.
By the way, they got the Steelers, Texans, and Giants. And I know the Giants are a little, but I mean, that's.
If they are truly going to stick with Sam Ehlinger, okay, which I don't know if they will. But if they truly stick with Sam Ehlinger, there's no way they're winning more than 2 games.
They got the Raiders next week. Raiders love blowing leads.
Let me tell you something. If I owned the Raiders and we lost to the Colts, I'd fire. I'd admit my mistake. I screwed up. I'd call Bisaccio again and say, listen, when your season's over with the Packers, you want your gig back? I screwed up. I'm sorry.
That might be one of the that's not going to happen, but man, that would be a horrible loss. At home too in Las Vegas.
Don't you have to take the Raiders in a suicide league?
Yes.
Think about what I'm saying. Aren't they 2-6?
Yes. They're 6.5-point favorites.
Yeah, I think Raiders.
Big numbers this week.
That's a lock.
Oh, I guess just the back half of the board. Bills are 6.5-point favorites already. Wow, don't you just jump the Vikings and pray you get Josh Allen not playing?
And not only that, how about, by the way, Green Bay's at home is a 5-point dog to the Cowboys.
Right.
Could you imagine?
Chiefs are a 9.5-point favorite against Adams Jags.
Could you imagine if we had suggested that 2 months ago? Dallas going to be a 5-point favorite in Green Bay?
2 months ago implies the season hadn't started. How about I just do it after week 1? We were firing McCarthy.
Yeah, they had lost to the Bucs again.
Right. That's what I mean. So you're right. I know what you're saying, but just think about it. After week 1.
Although the Packers, I think, they lost their opener again, right? Didn't they suck in the opener and then they won 3 in a row?
Yeah.
By the way, JP just texted and said, "Hey, I got people reaching out to me saying they heard me this morning. Are you guys on 1010?" I go, as a matter of fact, we are. They're like, "Well, God, 3 of my buddies listen to you guys."
That's good.
Nice.
Good to know. I texted him back and said, "We need more. You need more friends." Could be, Nick. Hell, could be. And for the record, Mark wants him to run the table.
Oh, God, there would be nothing that would be. I want this to be it won't be because of what Pat's saying. Those doors are, I've worked in those places before. I remember when they announced the team, I was in Nashville working on the coast, and we're moving to Pensacola. And then they decide that they're firing everybody.
Less than a minute.
And expected us to work. I had to go to work every day to get a check. I went in my office, I shut the door, and I was on the phone. The boss would come in and say, "Are you going to help?" I'd look at him and go, "Are you out of your mind? I'm trying to get a job. Leave me alone." Right to his face. You can make me sit here for 2 weeks to pay me. I'm not working.
30 seconds. $15 seconds.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes until the top of the hour, 17 minutes until we are out of here." Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Another lively show tomorrow. Bud Elliott will join us. Seth Everett will join us. Also in this, the bonus hour, we'll talk to the folks that are running the Fort Myers tip-off, including how close they came to not having a Fort Myers tip-off after Ian. So, things to look forward to on the show tomorrow, Mark.
We've gotten a decent amount of text today, and I've neglected them a little bit, so I feel badly about that. But this one I do want to read. I made the comment that Tua needs to beat somebody more important. And he says, "You mean like Buffalo, Baltimore, or the Patriots?" Oh, yeah, you already did that. Now, I will say the Buffalo win was not their most impressive offensive performance.
No, That was a rope-a-dope by the defense, 90 snaps, and they managed to win. Kind of what the Titans almost pulled off against the Chiefs.
But the fourth quarter against Baltimore is what put them on the map. And we're talking about MVP. And I don't think there are any two guys that are more in Tua's corner than Miller and Moulton. But David asked about the MVP. And that's a different set of circumstances.
Wasn't Tua also mildly concussed for half of that Buffalo game?
Yes.
We heard his dad.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Right. To us, yes. To the Dolphins, he back injury, stiffen up. Okay, he should be okay. All right. Let's do this.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
We start in 1731. This guy named Franklin opens the first library in North America. It's the Library Company of Philadelphia. 1864, Lincoln's elected to his second term. 1889, Montana admitted. Number 41 to the Union, David.
All right.
1892, Grover Cleveland is elected as our 24th president. 1904, Teddy Roosevelt wins his election. 32, FDR is elected again. I'm sorry, elected for the first time, defeating Hoover. 1956, the Ten Commandments opens in the U.S. Kennedy elected in...
What was it rated, by the way? That was a joke. You know, I mean, what could they rate it?
R. Very violent.
Well, never mind the language. Hello.
Especially that second commandment.
Especially if they acted it out. Okay, second commandment. Time to role play.
1970, Tom Dempsey kicks the 63-yarder against the Lions to set the NFL record for the longest field goal. 1971, Led Zeppelin 4 comes out. Listen to it today. Just put it on start to finish, turn it to 11, and let it rip. Today in 75 was the Rudy game for Notre Dame.
Huh.
Against Georgia Tech. 88, H.W. elected president. 91, Paul Coffey sets the NHL defenseman scoring mark with his 311th goal. 2002, 8 Miles released, and in 2016, Trump defeats Hillary Clinton. Those celebrating birthdays that are no longer with us: Bram Stoker, Coach Bowden, Morley Safer, and Jerry Remy. Those that are celebrating birthdays today: Jockey Angel Cordero Jr., Bonnie Raitt, who I think's overrated, by the way. Just for the record. Like every Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, let's bring Bonnie Raitt out there again. I'm still trying to figure out why. That's just me.
Okay.
Gordon Ramsay, Tara Reid, Sam Bradford, and Giancarlo Stanton all celebrating birthdays today.
How old's Giancarlo? Is he 30 yet?
33.
Okay. All right. I got a couple of things.
Okay.
You mentioned, guys getting elected president and all that. So Kennedy got elected today.
Yep.
1960.
We had that.
Okay. And today was the Newt Gingrich contract with America election day in 94. I'll never forget. I wake up, and for some reason, and I was not a big fan of this show, but for some reason, I'm watching the Today Show. And I see Tim Russert on the Today Show. And I was a Russert guy. And they say, so Tim, what's going to happen today? And Russert says, I just want you to ponder this possibility. Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. And they damn near laughed him off the set. And he's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. I'm in touch with the pollsters and this, that, and the other thing. I think the Republicans are going to do pretty well today. He goes, that's, they got to gain about 40-something seats. He goes, it might be a stretch, but I'm just saying it's a possibility. And sure enough, about 10, 12 hours later, we had Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. So some people are expecting that type of day today for that.
Could very well be. The prognosticators that do this for gambling have a different opinion than the pollsters. I've learned that you should trust Vegas with this more than the pollsters.
Yes. Vegas says this is going to be a wave today and the next couple of days, because in some states, it apparently takes them a few days to add up the votes. Apparently it takes about as long as it does to have a Powerball, right? Are we doing this?
I don't know.
Man,
how am I supposed to win $1 billion if they can't even draw the numbers?
Exactly. What is it? Security problem. Once again, it's a big plastic thing and a bunch of ping pong balls and some air. I mean, what's security? You're showing it. Okay. I mean, it's not like you're doing this. This isn't a magic act and you're putting a cape over it. Then all of a sudden you remove the cape and we got 6 numbers. I mean, we're watching the damn thing. What's security? I don't understand.
You're not the only one, David.
What does Montana or Russia have to do with the Powerball? I don't get it.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Larry O'Day has been working as a server at the Ridgeway Bar and Grill for 4 decades, and he's had some pretty good tips. But a couple Saturdays ago, a customer gave Larry a check as a tip. It was for $15,000. The diner only had 2 requests. 1, he didn't want anybody to know who it was. And 2, he wanted the $15,000 to be split amongst the staff.
Nice.
Basically, the customer said he prompted after Larry mentioned the Ridgeway staff came to the restaurant after Ian to help clean up and make repairs, and they did so without being asked. Hit the customer pretty hard, and he wrote out a check for $15,000 for the staff. Absolutely overwhelming. That's awesome. For the bad, we go to Washington, where a 17-year-old thief grabbed handbags at a Louis Vuitton store worth $18,000 and then went to run out the store. The only problem he made is instead of going to the door, he went right to the plate glass window. Knocked himself out cold.
I hate when that happens.
That's a cartoon moment right there. You gotta add an onomatopoeia.
What? Oh.
And finally, the ugly. We have a flight from Australia to the States where James Hughes was returning from an Indonesian vacation when instead of using the facilities, he decided to urinate in row 6.
Oh, come on,
Apparently,
dude.
He had a few bottles of wine, and he just decided that there was no time like the present and whipped it out and urinated all over the carpet.
Come on now, man. Row 6, you're close. I mean, there's always one at the front of the plane. Come on, man. Can't be doing that.
I've got nothing. Of course you can't be doing that. Where are you going to go? From.
Oh, man. We're stuck on this thing. This thing smells. Oh,
right.
Seriously. Golly.
That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on Election Day, November 8th, 2022.
You ever had one of those, David? Guy pee himself on the plane?
No. Goodness, no. First off, Felipe, if a guy started doing that, I was nearby, I would get up, I would grab him, I would carry him to the restroom. Seriously, what the heck? And not only that, row 6, that's right behind first class. No. You got to remember, he's got to start undoing his belt or what have you. If you're sitting nearby, isn't your reaction like, dude, what are you doing?
That's one reaction.
Man.
What I would do to watch David Moulton potty train someone at 9,000 feet.
Well, first off, if it's at 9,000 feet, either A, we're landing, or B, we're crashing. If we're crashing, I'd let him do whatever he wanted. I thought you were going to go with the Tyson Foods CFO. Did you see that story?
I did. I did.
I actually think this story isn't as bad as it sounds. For those who don't know,
the Tyson Foods CEO got drunk, went into the wrong house, and slept in the wrong bed.
Right. And now that's a problem. There's no doubt about it. And it also really is not good that the house is a single woman's house. So she comes home and finds this strange guy passed out in her bed. It's not good. But come on now. Let's acknowledge some of you have been hooked on phonics at a certain level in which it was entirely possible. I mean, Mark, how many times have you been in a hotel room and somebody is trying to get in your room because they think that's their room?
A ton.
Right.
I mean, you and I both traveled a lot of nights in hotel rooms. That's something that happens.
Yes, all the time. And sometimes those little cards worked. Okay. I've had people actually walk in the room, stare over me in bed and go, "Oh man, dude, what are you doing here?"
Yeah, that's why I always lock the bolt. I mean, I'll be really honest. It's why the bolt is always locked, because I've had it open where they can't get in. They're going, "What's going on here?" And I'm like, "Get the hell out of my room."
But also, if you rent houses down on the shore somewhere, or, beach, shore, what have you, they all kind of look the same. You're staggering, you're drunk on the beach. Our former producer, remember, he said he
did it. Didn't say he came close. He walked into a kitchen, started having food, realized he was in the wrong place, and left.
He's eating the cookies. And he looked around. He said, "Oh, damn, I don't think this is the right place." Took the cookies with him, though. So, I mean, this guy's probably going to lose his job. I mean, CFO
of Tyson Foods. This is after the Beyond Meat guy bit somebody's nose in Arkansas. What the hell's going on in Arkansas with food companies, for crying out loud?
But this is a really good job, and he's probably going to lose it. I don't know. It just, I can see it happening. He was drunk.
Do I have this right? There's not even an NBA game tonight. They're all off. That's right. They're all off for election night.
Right.
They are, because they've got a full slate last night. They got a full slate tomorrow night. Hockey, lots of hockey tonight. Tampa Bay and Edmonton. I don't know. I mean, really reason to drive to Tampa and go watch a hockey game tonight. Connor McDavid's in town.
Darn right it is. There is Maction. We have a triple header of Maction. Thank you very much. Eastern Michigan at 1-8 Akron. Hello? Listen, it's so bad, Mark, it's not even televised. Then you got Ohio against Miami of Ohio, Ball State against Toledo. ESPN2 and ESPN for Ohio and Miami and Ball State and Toledo. So there. Maction. Triple header tomorrow, too. Damn it, it's November. We're playing MAC football. Taking all the fans and putting them on one side of the stadium so it makes it look like there are actually people here.
Do your civic duty today. Go out and vote. Lines, they say, could be long, so be patient. Be a little sympathetic to those around you and do what you need to do today.
But vote. It's important.
Yes, it is.
You can't complain if you don't take part. Right?
That's always been my philosophy.
Oh. Then there's talk radio and message boards, and well, that threw that all out the window. Be safe today. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again,
Yeah.